Chapter 645. Chui 12's invitation. Yi Zichen left the front hall without so much as a backward glance. Actually, Yi Zichen just wanted to act cool and scare the old men. He intentionally walked very slowly so that they could invite him back. However, no one came to invite him back even after he reached the mountain gate. Seriously, Laozi already said that I'm the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, but these people didn't react at all. Yi Zichen looked back every few steps, but no one came to find him even after he left the mountain gate. What the hell? Yi Zichen decided not to wait any longer. It's fine if they don't come to find me. I don't want to stay here. Yi Zichen took out the note Chui 12 gave him. Chui 12 definitely wanted to tell me something since he sent it to me in such a vague manner. I'll wait for you at the place where we met. The contents of the note were very simple. Yi Zichen destroyed the note after reading it. Wait for me at the place we met? Just what does this guy want to say to me? Senior brother, that young man just said that he's the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. The elders in the hall spoke up after Yi Zichen left. The purple-robed elder in the center snickered. You all actually believed him? Could he be lying to us? The black-robed elder frowned. Although he had a bad temper, he was still a hardcore fan of the Yellow Emperor. The Yellow Emperor gave up his cultivation and reincarnated for the future of the immortal region in order to break through the shackles of the complete stage of the sky immortal level and create an immortal king expert for the immortal region. Also, he fought the demons back then and defeated Chiyu and his army of 100,000 demons. It could be said that the Yellow Emperor was a legendary figure in the immortal region. If he really is the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, why would he appear in Yonghe? The powerhouses of the immortal region would have invited him to the sacred land as an honored guest a long time ago, the purple-robed elder said in disdain. The purple-robed elder's tone was filled with disdain. Who knows where this bastard came from? He actually dared to use the Yellow Emperor's name to trick us. I only let him leave because it wasn't easy for him to reach this level of cultivation, and I will need his power to fight the enemies in the future. Otherwise, I wouldn't tolerate him tarnishing the Yellow Emperor's name. The purple-robed elder's words were very powerful and emotional. The elders in the hall also nodded in agreement with what the purple-robed old man had said. All right, let's not talk about that kid who pretended to be the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. The purple-robed elder waved his hand, and the white-robed elder stood up from his chair. Senior brother, we have to be careful when Chui 12 comes to the immortal region. Keep an eye on his location. Report to me when he leaves the immortal region. Yes, senior brother. The white-robed elder cupped his hands and left the hall. The purple-robed elder looked at the other elders and said, As for the others, go back to your duties. I'll go see Great Emperor Yonghe and report what happened just now. Yes. The elders in the hall all left. Only then did the purple-robed elder's brows sink. The Yellow Emperor's reincarnation has actually come to the immortal region. We definitely can't let this small fry mess up our grand plan. As soon as he finished speaking, the purple-clothed old man turned into a ray of light and disappeared from the hall. What he did not know was that the space in the hall twisted the moment he disappeared. Then, a person appeared in the empty hall and smirked in the direction the purple-robed elder disappeared, then disappeared as well. Yi Zichen arrived at the place he first appeared in according to his memories. This was a vast plain. As far as the eye could see, one could faintly see a village slowly emitting green smoke. Gulp. Yi Zichen's stomach rumbled. He had been in the immortal region for nearly a day, but he had not eaten a single drop of water or grain of rice. The system is definitely screwing me over. As Yi Zichen retorted in his heart, he looked around. Brother Yi. Chui 12 suddenly appeared in front of Yi Zichen in the vast plains with a roasted chicken in his hands. Yi Zichen couldn't help but gulp when he smelled the aroma of the roasted chicken. Brother Yi must be hungry as well, so I roasted it myself. Chui 12 sat down on the ground with a smile, then placed the roasted chicken wrapped in lotus leaves on the ground. Then, he took out a pot of wine and 2 wine cups from his bosom. Try it. Chui 12 poured a cup of wine for Yi Zichen, then raised his eyebrows at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen didn't think too much about it, and immediately poured the wine into his mouth. The wine was cool, but when it entered his stomach, it ignited a flame, causing him to feel extremely comfortable. More importantly, it was as if his spiritual power had increased. Brother Yi actually doesn't suspect me of poisoning it? Chui 12 raised his eyebrows with a smile. Yi Zichen shrugged. What reason do you have for poisoning it? That's true. Chui 12 smiled brightly, then poured a cup for himself as well. Every sip of this wine is a sip less. I've used up everything I have in order to serve Brother Yi. Is this wine very rare? Yi Zichen swirled the slightly murky wine in his cup. Chui 12 explained with a helpless smile. Brother Yi might not know, but this wine is rare even in the God realm. The flask of wine I have was given to me by your majesty. If I were to slowly earn points, I might not even be able to get a single flask in 100 years. Then I've gotten a great bargain. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled, then poured the second cup without any hesitation. Chui 12's heart ached, but he didn't stop them. I wonder why Brother Chui has summoned me here. Brother Yi, you're actually from the modern realm, right? Chui 12 smiled and looked over. Yes. Yi Zichen didn't want to think too much about how powerful the God realm guys were. Since he could say that he came from the modern realm, he must know something. Moreover, Lu Jing was in the Four-Direction Palace. Actually, I also came from the modern realm. Chui Fugue let out a long sigh. Yi Zichen shuddered and looked at him in shock. Of course, I'm not from the same era as you. I came here quite early, during the Republic of China period. I was inexplicably brought to this place by the Six Realms patroller, and I was actually quite flustered. In the blink of an eye, so many years have passed. I didn't expect to meet people from the modern realm, such as you and Lu Qing. I didn't expect Brother Chui to be from the modern realm. Yi Zichen suppressed the shock in his heart. Chui 12 nodded, then stretched lazily. Actually, I came here for Lu Jing. For her? Yi Zichen couldn't help but feel a chill when he thought of Lu Jing. For her? Yi Zichen couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart when he thought of Lu Jing. Yi Zichen smiled, then took off the chicken leg. What did she tell you to come find me for? To return a favor? I don't need it. Chapter 646. Chapter 646. Lu Jing's letter. A gentle breeze blew past. The grass on the plains rippled as the breeze blew past. Yi Zichen paused for a moment when he heard that. Then, he finished his chicken leg with a smile and shrugged. What is it? From what I understand, you and Lu Jing are lovers? Since Lu Qing and I are both from the modern realm, our relationship is naturally better than with the other highnesses. She talks about you the most, how amazing you are, and how much she misses you. Chui 12 tried to test Lu Qing. Lu Qing and I are both from the modern realm. Yi Zichen nodded and listened carefully to Chui 12. It is actually very difficult to survive in the Four-Direction Palace. I had thought that she would be removed from the Four-Direction Palace. However, I never expected this doll-like girl to be able to gain a stable footing in the Four-Direction Palace in just a few short months and become His Majesty's most beloved highness. Although Lu Jing likes to cause trouble, she does have some tenacity, Yi Zichen nodded. But you don't know that you are the only thing that keeps her going. Chui 12 looked up and locked eyes with Yi Zichen with a smile. Chui 12 looked up and locked his gaze onto Yi Zichen's with a smile. No matter how difficult the mission or cultivation, he will grit his teeth and complete it. When I went to see her and told her not to work so hard, do you know what she said? Yi Zichen shook his head. Chui 12 pursed his lips with a smile. Chui 12 pursed his lips and smiled. She said that the sooner she becomes a Sky Supreme, the sooner she can go back and see you. Just like that, that belief supported her from being unknown to the 17th Highness that the entire Four-Direction Palace and even the God Realm knows about. Yi Zichen's hand trembled. The hand that was holding onto the wine cup inexplicably trembled. It wasn't hard to imagine what kind of hardship Lu Jing had experienced during this period. It would be a lie to say that he didn't feel heartache, but so what? It was just as Lu Jing had said, they were no longer people of the same world. Yi Zichen picked up the wine gourd and poured it into his mouth. Cui 12, who sat across from him, glared and snatched the gourd away. Are you an animal? Are you a beast? This is all I have left. Ha! Yi Zichen laid on the ground and looked up at the gradually darkening sky. The orange-red sunset dyed the horizon. She kept sighing, but she couldn't say a word. I came here because Lu Jing asked me to. She knew that I would descend in the next few days, so she specifically told me to give it to you. Yi Zichen looked up and saw a letter in Cui 12's hands. I swear I didn't look at it on my way here. Cui 12 swore. Yi Zichen took the letter over and opened it. Yi Zichen, I'm Lu Jing. You must have met Brother 12. He is a very good brother and my only friend in the divine realm. I heard that he was about to descend to the mortal world, so I asked him to pass this letter to you. I want to explain some things to you. Actually, what I said that day wasn't my original intention. When I saw you that day, you know how much I wanted to hug you and tell you the words I said countless times in my dreams. But I couldn't do anything in front of Deep Dream. He is His Majesty's most trusted confidant and also a spy that I can't get rid of even if I want to. I can't show my true thoughts, so I can only pretend to be indifferent. There's no helping it, I want to live. I have to apologize. I didn't care about your feelings for the sake of my life. But I can't do anything about it. I live on thin ice under His Majesty's watch. I have to make him absolutely satisfied and make him trust me. Only then can I survive in the Four Directions Palace, because I know very well that there is only hope for everything to turn around if I survive. Only if I survive can I truly have the chance to hug you and tell you just how much I miss you. The God realm is filled with danger, and so is the entire 6 realms. I hope you can be careful and not be as hot-tempered as you were in the modern realm. Live. You have to live. Also, please believe me, no matter what happens, I will always love you. Yi Zichen's eyes gradually moistened. He gripped the letter tightly and carefully put it away in the treasure chest. For a long time, Yi Zichen did not say anything. He merely sat on the ground and stared blankly in front of him. I really want to know what the God realm is like, Yi Zichen suddenly said. Yi Zichen said abruptly. His gaze had already turned sharp. Cui 12 wiped away the grease on his lips and thought for a moment. Tyrannical, tyrannical. The strong plunder resources to become stronger, while the weak follow the strong and live their lives in fear. You too? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Of course, Cui 12 smiled wryly. Don't think that I'm just the highness of the Four Directions Palace. I might look very impressive in front of outsiders, but I don't even dare to raise my head in front of His Majesty. His Majesty's words can decide my life and death. Do you understand? It's just like the emperors of ancient times. Do you understand? It's just like our ancient emperors. As long as you make His Majesty unhappy, you have to die. Is that so? Yi Zichen looked at the sky with a dark expression. Every single word in Lu Jing's letter was heart-wrenching. She didn't hide the fear in her heart at all. I can't imagine just how cruel His Majesty is. That's why Cui 12 and Lu Jing are in such a state. You're lucky that you didn't go to the divine world. If you're lucky enough to step into the divine world, listen to my advice. Don't choose the Four-Way Palace for Lu Qing. Never step into the territory of the Four-Way Palace before reaching the Heavenly Supreme Realm. If you do that, you'll be harming yourself, and you'll be harming Lu Jing, who has always been trembling with fear. Cui 12 sighed and patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. His words of consolation contained a lot of bitterness. What's His Majesty's name? Yi Zichen suddenly asked. Bayan. Cui 12 said. Why are you asking? Why? Of course, He was going to use the God Stone to pray for that retarded majesty. Pong. What a familiar name. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Isn't this the name of the dragon's son? Are you sure it's Bian? Isn't this the dragon's son? Yi Zichen frowned. How did he become the emperor of the Four Directions Palace? There are some things that I can't reveal. The current divine realm is different from the divine realm 10,000 years ago. Chui 12 answered carefully as he looked up at the sky. If I say anything, then the people above might find out. But I can tell you that in the current divine realm, the 9 sons of the dragon all have high positions of authority. Yi Zichen scratched his chin and squinted his eyes. The old dragon god had told him that the dragon race was partners with the divine realm, but it seemed like he was saying that they were a subsidiary race of the divine realm, and that they worked for the divine realm, causing the dragon race to nearly go extinct. Chapter 647. Damn the rules, it's getting late. I've stayed in the lower realm for too long. I didn't get to experience the life of a Taoist disciple, so I returned to the god realm early. Chui 12 smiled faintly as he glanced into the distance. You're going back now? Since you're going to be an outer sect disciple here, then a few more days won't matter. How about you stay here for a bit longer? I have a lot of questions to ask you as well. Yi Zichen came back to his senses and tried to get Chui 12 to stay. He had countless questions about the god realm. Chui 12 was clearly a very good person to answer his questions. If I go back so early? No, it doesn't feel good staying here and being watched all the time. As he spoke, Chui 12 glanced at the empty space nearby with a playful smile on his face. He stretched lazily, then carefully put away the remaining juices on the ground, then walked in front of Yi Zichen and patted him on the shoulder. Be careful in the immortal region. With that, Chui 12 took out a spiritual compass and placed it on the ground. The spiritual compass lit up and shot into the sky. Chui 12 stood on top of it and waved towards Yi Zichen with a smile. If fate wills it, we'll meet again in the god realm. Chui 12's figure above the spiritual compass gradually turned blurry, then disappeared from the plains. Yi Zichen didn't look away for a long time. While he felt sad about Chui 12's departure, he couldn't help but worry about Lu Jing's situation in the god realm. After a long time, a flock of geese flew past in the sky. For some reason, Yi Zichen felt a bit lonely as he looked at the geese in the sky. He was unfamiliar with the immortal region, and there was no one around him that he could talk to. More importantly, the sky was about to turn dark, and he didn't even have a place to stay. Since there weren't any inns nearby that could give him a place to stay, Yi Zichen decided to spend the night outside. He sat on the ground indifferently and stuffed the remaining roast chicken into his mouth. At the same time, he looked for the system. System, come out. I know you're definitely watching me. System notification. Something went wrong in the middle, but don't worry, someone will come and find you soon. The something went wrong in the middle was clearly because no one cared about Yi Zichen in the immortal region. Thinking of that, Yi Zichen couldn't help but grit his teeth. He gripped his phone tightly and rolled his eyes. You make it sound easy. You know, I went to Immortal Domain's Harmony Taoist temple. When I mentioned that I was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, they ignored me. System notification. Yonghe Temple? System notification. How did you end up there? Yonghe Temple is actually a bunch of gibberish. Yi Zichen's mind went wild. He looked at the garbled code on the screen and tried to understand what the system was trying to say, but in the end, he gave up. What the hell? A system notification. This damned rule. Obviously, the system's message seemed to have been blocked by something. This sort of situation was truly rare. In Yi Zichen's memory, the system had never acted like this before. System notification. In short, don't come into contact with Yonghe's people. Find a place to stay for the next few days. It won't be long before someone comes to pick you up. What about Yonghe's people? Yi Zichen frowned. Combined with the system's messed up code and his curse, as well as the fact that he was forbidden from contacting Yong He's people in between system notification, don't worry about it. Also, do not take out Xin Yuan's sword from the treasure chest before you see the Flame Emperor and company. Do you understand? Understood, Yi Zichen nodded in certainty. System notification. Then that's it. I'm very busy right now, so let's stop here. The system notification gradually disappeared from the screen, which meant that Yi Zichen had truly left. Yi Zichen thought back to what the system said with a dark expression. There was something wrong with Yonghe. He didn't know what the problem was, but he just had to be more careful in the future. Yi Zichen put the problem of Yonghe to the back of his mind, then suddenly thought of Tai Bai jinxing. He definitely had the right to speak about the God Realm. This geezer had stayed in the God Realm for a long time. Yi Zichen scrolled to his chat with Tai Bai jinxing. Geezer Tai Bai. Yi Zichen sent the message, and it remained in the sending state. After a long time, a red exclamation mark appeared in front of the message. Sending failed. Yi Zichen scratched his head, then couldn't help but send it again. It was still a sending failure. This is strange. Yi Zichen looked at the signal on his phone. At that moment there was an internet signal. In order to confirm it, he even checked his moments. It could be refreshed. What did this geezer go to do? Yi Zichen scratched his head, then put his phone back into his pocket. Then, he laid down on the plains and looked up at the bright moon in the sky. Damn it, it's actually a full moon. When people from other places see the full moon, they couldn't help but think of their hometown. I really wonder when he can return to the modern realm. A silent night passed. Before he fell asleep, Yi Zichen set up a barrier around him like a tent. Although he was sleeping in the open, he had a good night's sleep. Ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong. The phone in Yi Zichen's pocket continuously rang with notifications. Yi Zichen took out his phone in a daze. The screen was filled with messages from Yang Jian, while there were plenty of unread messages from other people. Yi Zichen looked up at the sky. The sun had already risen high in the sky. Yi Zichen patted his face, then clicked open his chat with Yang Jian. Bro! 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 The entire screen was filled with these two words. Yi Zichen replied with a yawn. What is it? You finally came out, Yang Jian instantly replied. What do you plan to do about the underworld? At the underworld? Yi Zichen scratched his head in confusion. I just slept for a bit. What happened to the underworld? What happened to the underworld? Didn't you see our group? Never mind, I'll tell you. The underworld is in chaos. The first person of the 18 levels of hell was killed in one night for no reason. The seals of hell have been opened, and all the wraiths inside have come out. The underworld is in a mess right now. Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat when he saw Yang Jian's message. He frowned. Are you sure? It's already spread out in the heavenly court. Do you think it's fake? If you don't believe me, then take a look in the group. They're still talking about it. Then why did you find me? Although the underworld is at odds with the heavenly court, no matter what, the heavenly court and the underworld used to be one family. You are now the chief minister of the cabinet of the heavenly court, so you have the right to decide whether the heavenly court will send troops to help. However, I feel like this is the best chance to ease the tension between the heavenly court and the underworld. Bro, what do you think? Although the relationship between the underworld and the heavenly court had become tense recently, the older generation deities still cared about old times. Thus, the deities all went to find Yi Zichen the moment this happened. Chapter 648. The Great Emperor comes knocking. Yi Zichen signaled Yang Jian to calm down, then clicked open the red packet server. God of Thunder. Yang Jian, what happened to Tianzuan? Pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. I didn't expect something like this to happen in the underworld. Looks like he's recovered. Yang Jian, he said he'll update me later. God of Fortune, something big has happened to the underworld this time. Even if our heavenly court sends troops, We won't be able to deal with the resentful spirits in the 18 levels of hell without 3 to 5 days. If the Empyrean agrees to send troops, then I, the god of wealth, will become a god of poverty. You Lao, god of fortune, you're wrong. When hell is in trouble, it's only right that we lend a helping hand. What's more, this affects the 3 realms. So what if we have to spend some money? God of thunder, you Lao is right. God of fortune, alright, I'm just saying. Generals, if you really want to send troops, you can discuss with me at any time if you need resources or funds. Monkey King, hey, Old Sun's monkeys are all ready. Back then, Old Sun, had wreaked havoc in the underworld. This time, it's time to ease the tension between us. Yang Jian, it's useless for us to talk here. Let's wait for my brother's news. As the people in the group chatted away, Yi Zichen took a quick glance and scrolled up the chat history. 10-odd minutes later, Yi Zichen found the first message. Clairvoyance, Morning Post. Hell is in chaos. The upper echelons were currently gathered together for a meeting. The 10 ghost marshals were all present, and the 9 Yama kings were all present as well. Clairaudient. Morning news, the souls of the ghost messengers of the 18 levels of hell in the underworld have been destroyed, the internal restrictions have collapsed, and the vengeful spirits have broken out of hell and escaped. Right now, he was summoning the underworld Soul Reaper and Soul Shackle envoys to summon all the vengeful spirits back. Canopy Marshal, old pig doesn't read much, don't joke around. God of Thunder, really? Yang Jian, stop fooling around. Hell is impregnable. How can it stop collapsing? That's a restriction set up by the great sacred Emperor equaling heaven. Even the Jade Emperor can't break it. God of Fortune. Shu, the Jade Emperor doesn't like people saying that he's weaker than the great sacred Emperor equaling heaven. Yu Lao, ahem, I've received insider news. The clairvoyant and clairaudient were indeed speaking the truth. Immortal Chijiao. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva just sent a message asking for help in our Buddhist realm group. It seems like it's true. Yang Jian. Oxhead just sent me a message. He asked me if the heavenly courts can disregard the past and send troops to help suppress them. God of Thunder, I got it too. Pagoda bearing heavenly kingly, I received it too. Canopy Marshal, old pig also received it. Yu Lao, it seems like the situation in the underworld is really difficult. I'm afraid they can't control the situation on their own. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone around asking for help. God of Thunder, go look for the Sky Sovereign. He is now the Grand Chief of the Cabinet. As long as he agrees to send troops, Yang Jian, I'll go look for him. Yi Zichen left the group with his chin in his hand. He was rather curious as to why there was no news from the Underworld's group after such a huge incident. He scanned through the list of his closest contacts and found only Idealism was also kicked out of the Underworld's staff chat group. This news was from half a month ago, but he didn't realize it. It was no wonder that the Underworld chat group had been so peaceful and quiet. He had been kicked out of it by someone. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh, then opened the messages the others had sent him. As expected, they were all asking him how to deal with it. Ding dong. Yi Zichen's phone vibrated. A bright red one appeared on his contact list. Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens has sent you a friend request. Yi Zichen's hand trembled, and he nearly threw the phone away. He looked at the verification message. I have something to discuss with you. Yes. Sky Sovereign. The great sacred Emperor equaling heavens sent him a message the moment he received the verification message. Great Emperor. To be honest, Yi Zichen was rather hesitant when facing him. Although he was of the same level as the Jade Emperor was widely known, while the great sacred Emperor equaling heavens was mysterious. As the person in charge of the underworld, he didn't care about the internal affairs of the underworld. Nobody knew what he was busy with, and very few people even knew who he really was. However, he actually appeared this time, and even added Yi Zichen as a friend. Let's cut to the chase. I've contacted the Jade Emperor. He said that you're in charge of the Heavenly Court now, so I would like to ask you to send troops to help the underworld. Is the situation very dangerous? Yi Zichen frowned. Yes. Even though I appeared the moment the seal was broken, there are still hundreds of millions of wraiths that escape. It's impossible for the underworld to capture all of them with just the military strength we have. Please send troops. Sure, Yi Zichen replied with a smile. Yi Zichen smiled. But I'm very curious. Just who was able to break through the seals you set up? The great sacred emperor equaling heavens fell silent. After a long while, he finally replied, an expert that far surpasses me and the Jade Emperor. This kind of expert is definitely not from the three realms. If he's not from the three realms, then he's clearly from the upper three realms. I've already rushed back as fast as I could, but I still couldn't catch a glimpse of him. However, I smell a familiar scent from him. It's like a demon. Them again. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth and clenched his fists. Great Emperor, no need to worry. I'll tell the Heavenly Court to send troops right away. Thank you so much. I'll leave everything to Sky Sovereign, the great sacred Emperor equaling heavens replied. No problem. Ding dong. Your intimacy level with the great sacred Emperor equaling heavens increased by 100. Current intimacy level, 200. Ding dong. Your intimacy level with the great sacred Emperor equaling heaven has increased. Current intimacy level, trusted. Yi Zichen glanced at the increased intimacy level, then clicked on the red packet server. Everyone, the Netherworld is in trouble. We will send perfected Lord Erlang, Yang Jian, pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li Jing, and Third Prince Neza to help with 100,000 heavenly soldiers. Yang Jian, yes. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li. Understood. Neza, okay. God of Thunder. Only idealism, Sky Sovereign, what should I do? Someone has to guard the Heavenly Court. You should stay and guard the house. Monkey King. I, old son, want to go too. Canopy Marshal. I, old pig, also want to go. Then all of you can go, but the Heavenly Court must have someone to guard it. Thor, you must stay home. I just talked to the great sacred Emperor equaling heavens. The ones who broke the formation were demons. They attacked the underworld, so they might attack the Heavenly Court as well. Although you can't go out and help, your mission is more important, understand? God of Thunder, understood. God of Fortune, if you need equipment and funds, report to me. Old Lord Taishang, if you need pills, go to the Old Lord's manor to get them. Yu Lao, ahem, if you need marriage, come to my Red Line Pavilion, Old Lord Taishang, F***ck off. The atmosphere in the group instantly changed when Yi Zichen agreed to send troops. Yi Zichen smiled, but his gaze turned sharper. He squinted his eyes and typed on the keyboard. Chapter 649. Sampang leads the army. These fellows from the demon realm were becoming more and more unbridled. In the past, they would at most make some abyssals appear. But this time, they managed to break through the Hell's seal and release hundreds of millions of vengeful spirit. Vengeful spirits were different from ghosts. They gathered the resentment of heaven and earth. In other words, they were ghosts that were born from resentment after they died. This kind of ghost would not be able to reincarnate before the resentment in their hearts was purified. However, it must be known that vengeful spirits did not achieve their ambitions when they were alive, so they were narrow-minded and gathered vengeful energy. How could his resentment diminish when he was forced to endure the torment of the underworld? Over time, the number of vengeful spirits increased. Now that the vengeful spirit had escaped, who knew what kind of trouble it would stir up? Don't embarrass me when we get out. We're here to help the underworld capture vengeful spirit. This is also a blessing for the common people in the outer regions of the immortal domain. When the time comes, all of you have to be more attentive and do your best. Do not be passive, understand? A familiar voice sounded out not far away. Yi Zichen looked up into the sky. Unbeknownst to them, the sky was already filled with people. Even the weakest amongst them was a human immortal. Looking around, there was no end to this group of cultivators. Boss Yi. At that moment, the fatty, who was standing at the very front, flew towards Yi Zichen. Third Fatty Jean. Yi Zichen was slightly stunned. Third Fatty Jean wore a white robe with red stripes, and had a Taoist temple on his round head. You guys are going to, Boss Yi, when did you come to the immortal region? Third Fatty Jin's face was filled with shock. Something happened to the underworld. Master ordered me to bring people over to help. You guys are going as well? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Of course. The vengeful spirit appeared outside of the immortal region. How could we, the sacred land of the immortal region, sit back and do nothing? Third Fatty Jean answered matter-of-factly. But Boss Yi, did you just come to the immortal region? I've been here since yesterday. Yesterday? Third Fatty Jean frowned. Then why didn't anyone come to pick you up? Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. How about this, Boss Yi? Come with me to the outskirts of the immortal region. After we deal with those vengeful spirits, I'll send you to see my master. All right. Yi Zichen nodded without any hesitation. He was about to return to the outskirts of the immortal region when he heard about this. No matter what, there were too many people he had to protect there. Third Fatty Jean nodded with a light smile, then raised his head and pointed at the people in the sky. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave. Swish, swish, swish. Yi Zichen couldn't help but purse his lips into a smile when he saw this. You're right. You're quite powerful. And your clothes, I don't think you were wearing this before. Sigh, don't mention it. Third Fatty Jean and Yi Zichen followed behind the group and shook their heads with a wry smile. My first senior brother has disappeared ever since the battle at Mount Supreme. Esteemed master had tried to search for him, but he couldn't find him. Coincidentally, a while ago, the various halls were going to choose their chief disciples. My master only has 2.5 disciples, so I had no choice but to become the chief disciple. Third Fatty Jean shrugged helplessly. From the looks of it, he was rather unwilling. Yi Zichen raised his hand and smacked Third Fatty Jin's head with a smile. Don't act like you didn't get what you wanted. Plenty of people can't become the chief disciple even if they wanted to, and you're actually acting like you're unwilling. Third Fatty Jean smiled bitterly, then twitched his mouth. If I was the chief disciple a few years ago, I would definitely be willing. But Boss Yi, don't you know that the world is in chaos recently? The chief disciple has to bear the responsibilities of a chief disciple. For example, I have to lead by example when we're dealing with the Wraith. I have to save my junior brothers in times of danger, which means that my life isn't mine. It's not like you don't know how scared I am of death. If Third Fatty Jean said he was number 2 in terms of being scared of death and acting cool, then no one would dare to say they were number 1. Yi Zichen patted him on the shoulder when he saw Third Fatty Jin's helpless expression. Those who are capable have to put in more effort than others. Boom. A commotion suddenly occurred at the front of the group. Third Fatty Jean frowned. What happened? Senior brother, there's... Before the disciple in front could finish, Yi Zichen saw a group of blood-red monsters with sharp fangs appear around the group. The wraiths actually came to the sacred land. Third Fatty Jean squinted his bean-sized eyes, then tore open the space and took out his hammers. You hurt my junior brother. Die. Third Fatty Jean charged fearlessly towards the wraiths as he swung his hammers. This was the first time Yi Zichen saw him fight since he had known him for so long. Very strong, especially his hammers, they suited him very well. A faint smile surfaced on Yi Zichen's face. Third Fatty Jean said that he was scared of death earlier, but now that he saw his junior brother in trouble, didn't he have to bear the responsibility of being the senior brother? Since Third Fatty Jean is so strong, I'm his boss, so I can't fall behind. Yi Zichen bit his finger and formed a seal with his hands, causing a blood-red sickle to appear in his hands. None of them were from the underworld, so the only way to suppress the wraiths was to destroy their souls. What's more, the wraiths looked rather fierce. If they were to injure their own people, it would not be worth it. The blood-red sickle was like the scythe of the grim reaper. Wherever Yi Zichen passed by, the sickle would continuously reap the souls of the wraiths. Who is this person? He's so fierce. The surrounding disciples all stopped when they saw Yi Zichen attack. There really wasn't anything for them to do. The wraiths might be rather troublesome for the disciples, but they were just noobs for Yi Zichen. Third Fatty Jean raised his eyebrows, then swung his hammers with even more force. With the two of them working together, all the wraiths that appeared in the sacred land were destroyed. Third Fatty Jean put his hammers back into the spatial fissure, then smiled towards Yi Zichen. Boss Yi, I really can't compare to you in terms of strength. Don't flatter me over there. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. How did these guys get here? Isn't the sacred land of the immortal region an independent space? The sacred land of the immortal region is indeed an independent space. Third Fatty Jean nodded. Third Fatty Jean nodded. But since these vengeful spirits came to the sacred land, then I can only say, what is it? Yi Zichen had a bad feeling when he saw Third Fatty Jin's hesitant expression. The wraiths in the outer region of the immortal region are already saturated. If there are no accidents, then what we will see when we step out of this teleportation gate is the outer region of the immortal region, Third Fatty Jean said sullenly. Third Fatty Jean said sullenly. Yi Zichen opened his eyes wide. Chapter 650. Battle, keep your spirits up. Is this the time to be afraid? Outside Maple City, a bearded man wearing armor and holding a long sword walked in the air. Beside him were similarly armored Maple City guards, surrounded by ferocious-looking wraiths. Wu, the vengeful spirit, let out a strange cry and bit the bearded man. The middle-aged man was caught off guard and was bitten by the vengeful spirit. General! The guard couldn't help but express his concern. The bearded man's brows suddenly furrowed. He turned around and slashed the vengeful spirit away. He ignored his own injuries and scolded his guard. If you have the time to worry about me, why don't you think about how to protect your family? As a soldier, fear is not a word in your dictionary. As long as you are afraid, if you retreat, then the ones who will be hurt will be your family and the people who believe in you. The bearded man glared angrily. He glared at the cursed grudge around him and raised the sword in his hand high up. Kill! Kill! The guard's eyes were also bloodshot as he recklessly charged towards the endless vengeful spirits. They had no way out. Maple City was their home, and behind them stood the lover they swore to protect for the rest of their lives. They could only fight to the death without retreating. As expected, Yi Zichen and the others encountered the wraith's ferocious attacks. Unfortunately, these vengeful spirits were not very strong. It was just their numbers that made one's heart palpitate. Before long, all the vengeful spirits near the teleportation point were wiped out. Boss Yi, we've settled everything here. Where do you think we should go next? Third Fatty Jean checked the injuries of the surrounding juniors. After confirming that they were all fine, he walked in front of Yi Zichen and asked, which city are we closest to in the outer regions of the immortal region? Yi Zichen carried the blood scythe on his shoulder. After killing so many wraiths, the scythe's blood-red color had become even more crystalline. Red Maple City and Hundred Flowers City are both nearby, but in terms of battle prowess, Hundred Flowers City has the Hundred Flowers Gate guarding it, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Yi Zichen nodded. That's right. Then let's go to Maple City. Third Fatty Jean nodded, then rose into the air and flew towards Maple City. Yi Zichen, who was at the back of the group, gazed into the distance. You must live. General, our people. The guards of Maple City were covered in blood. Of course, the blood belonged to them. Lying around them were guards who had lost their ability to fight. The remaining guards not only had to protect their comrades, but they also had to fight the vengeful spirits. The situation was unspeakable. The minimum requirement to become a Maple City Guard was to be an Earth immortal. All in all, these vengeful spirits were at best spirit bodies. Vengeful spirits that could become earthen immortals were as rare as phoenix feathers and Chelan horns. However, it was precisely this group of weak vengeful spirits that nearly annihilated this group of elite guards. General, let's retreat. We don't need the North Gate anymore. Let's go back and meet up with the governor. Let's activate the Hooching formation. The rest of the guards tried to comfort him, but Beardy was not much better off. His immortal-grade spirit chi battle armor was torn apart by these low-level vengeful spirits. His burly arms were also dripping with blood to the ground. Lousy doesn't want to hear that. The bearded man glared at the surrounding guards and berated them. The city lord and the young city lord's only son will guard the East Gate. Leisure House, a faction within the city, volunteered to guard the South Gate, while the travelers in the city volunteered to guard the West Gate. City Lord, let me guard the North Gate and give all the troops to Lousy. You're telling Lousy to retreat? I'm telling you, there's no such thing as retreat for my troops. Do you understand? With that, the bearded general raised his blunted sword and charged at the vengeful spirits without hesitation. Come, Lousy wants to see just how fierce you guys are. Lousy's done. Many guards chose to throw away their weapons and run towards the city gate in such a hopeless situation. There were simply too many vengeful spirits. They could not see any hope of winning in a situation like that. Thus, they chose to run in the face of fear and despair. Dong. However, before they could take a few steps, the guards ran into an invisible barrier. Open the barrier, Lousy wants to go in. The guards kept hammering the barrier. The guards standing on the city wall looked reluctant, but they still shook their heads resolutely. City Lord has ordered that the city formation will not be removed until the vengeful spirits are gone. At the same time, a group of vengeful spirits appeared behind the guards who wanted to enter the city to seek refuge. The vengeful spirits pounced on him and instantly tore his flesh into a bloody mess. Seeing this scene, the surrounding guards all gulped and tightened their grip on the weapons in their hand. Since the city was not taking them in, they had no way out. Beardy, who was fighting with the group of vengeful spirits in the air, smiled bitterly. Actually, he already knew that the city barrier formation would be activated the moment they came out. Those who came out of the city to face the enemy had all come out with the belief that they would die. Bang! The sword that had slashed countless vengeful spirits finally broke at this moment. The moment the sword broke, the vengeful spirits seemed to have received a signal to attack and instantly surrounded Beardy. You want to eat Lousy? I'm afraid you won't be alive. The bearded man's body suddenly turned red. He had already prepared himself for the worst. Self-destruct. Go to hell, all of you! His fists fiercely blasted away the surrounding vengeful spirits. With bloodshot eyes, he flew to the place with the most vengeful spirits. Boom! Within 100 meters, all the vengeful spirits were eliminated. The guards who were still guarding the city with their weapons couldn't help but tear up. General! The guards who had lost the ability to fight on the ground cried out in pain. Then, they gritted their teeth and crawled around the vengeful spirit. Boom! 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 Explosions rang out one after another. The surviving guards watched as their comrades left one after another. The flames of hatred instantly turned into their strength. They tore off their armor and gave up all defense, charging towards the vengeful spirits. Die, all of you, die! As soon as they realized that they had lost the ability to fight, they all chose to self-destruct. The number of soldiers outside the city decreased. The guards standing on the city walls watched as their comrades chose to self-destruct in exchange for a moment of peace in the capital. An hour later, the northern city gate was completely annihilated. The guards who maintained the city barrier formation on the city walls were already crying their eyes out. They were indeed still alive, but they had personally witnessed their brothers who had fought alongside them for decades, or even centuries, die in battle. Chapter 651. Boom, 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 Boom. Yi Zichen and company, who had been clearing out the wraiths in the surroundings, suddenly heard a series of explosions. After killing the last wraiths around him, Yi Zichen looked in the direction of Maple City with a frown. Do you know what's going on? It feels like something is self-destructing, Third Fatty Jean replied calmly. Third Fatty Jean replied indifferently. They were already used to self-destruction. Along the way to Maple City, they had seen countless experts in villages choose to self-destruct in order to protect their villages. Even if it was just for a bit more hope of survival. These fellows from the Devil Realm. Yi Zichen clenched his fist. Third Fatty Jean couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Demon Realm? Aren't they wraiths? I've chatted with the leader of the underworld, the great sacred emperor equaling heaven. He said that the person who opened the 18 levels of hell had the aura of demons. Yi Zichen replied with a dark expression. Then he let out a long sigh and shook his head. Never mind, now isn't the time to talk about this. Let's hurry to Maple City, Yi Zichen replied with a dark expression. Woo! The wails of wraiths sounded out outside Maple City. The foreheads of the guards on the city walls were covered in sweat, but they still gritted their teeth and maintained the city-protecting formation. As time went on, the number of people who volunteered to fight outside Maple City decreased. On the other hand, the city gates that had lost their defenses would be attacked by even stronger wraiths, causing the guards to feel more and more pressure. City Lord, we've lost the north and west gate. There are too many wraiths. The brothers maintaining the formation can't hold on much longer. Hurry up and retreat with the young City Lord. If it really doesn't work, then we'll just fight it out with them. The guards on the east city walls roared. Luo Wei and Luo Yang stood proudly in the sky. Wraiths filled the area around them, but none of them dared to attack. This group of vengeful spirits was truly afraid of being killed. Luo Wei squinted his eyes when he heard the guards report. He was not surprised at all. Although the wraiths were weak, they had the advantage in numbers. Even a complete stage Sky Immortal expert wouldn't be able to handle them even if they charged forward to their death. For example, the current Luo Yang, who was at the Sky Immortal level, had a pale face and weak aura. This was the result of overconsumption of spiritual energy. However, he didn't expect that Leisure House would be able to hold on for so long. City Lord, come back. The guards on the city walls frowned and tried to comfort him. In their eyes, anyone could die except the City Lord. The City Lord was the backbone of this city. If he died in battle, then the soldiers and citizens of the city would fall into a state of panic. Little Yang, go back. Luo Wei forcefully pushed Luo Yang behind him. Luo Yang swayed as he steadied himself. His red tasseled spear stabbed into the air. If father doesn't leave, then I won't leave. What nonsense are you talking about? Luo Wei glared at him angrily. Even if you're outside right now, you'll only be a burden to me. Return to the city and recuperate. Come out when you're strong enough to fight. No. Luo Yang's eyes were filled with seriousness. At this moment, City Lord. Luo Wei, who had been so focused on Luo Yang that he did not notice the surrounding vengeful spirits launching a wave of attacks on him. He subconsciously turned around and hugged Luo Yang tightly. Lightning Palm, serve me! A group of people arrived in the sky. Third Fatty Jean sneered at the nearby vengeful spirit. With that, hundreds of lightning palms landed on the vengeful spirit. Kill them all. Third Fatty Jean led the charge. He charged towards the vengeful spirits with 2 giant hammers in his hands. They're here. They're finally here. Luo Wei, who was hugging Luo Yang tightly, let out a long sigh of relief. He had chosen to defend the city to the death. He had chosen to defend the immortal region's sacred land's reinforcements. Old Shui, we can't hold on much longer. Let's retreat, Stone muttered as he swung his arms. Stone muttered as he swung his arms. He was fully armed from head to toe, and from the colorful appearance, one could tell that this set of equipment was not cheap. It wasn't just him. Almost everyone in Leisure House was the same. Outsiders might be envious of them. These were all equipment forged by tool refinement grandmasters. A single set cost at least 100 million Celeste. But what could they do? They had no choice. Leisure House had nothing but money. No, if we retreat, what about the civilians in the city? Even if we don't care about them, think about our village's name. Shwechi shook his head. Hearing that, Stone also fell silent. Then what do you want? We've pretty much finished all the recovery pills and spiritual nourishing pills Yeezy left for us. The only reason we've been able to last this long is because of these pills. No matter how we kill these vengeful spirits, they don't show any signs of decreasing. We're going to die here sooner or later. What are you panicking for? Don't you still have me? Boom. A blood-red sickle with unstoppable force tore open a gap in the vengeful spirit. Yizichin carried the sickle and walked in front of Shwechi with a smile, then pulled him up from the ground. Sorry, I'm late. You always like to appear at times like this. Shwechi's worried expression also relaxed. He reached out to grab Yizichin's arm and stood up. Stone also came over from the side with a relaxed smile on his face. Brat, you're finally here. Your big brother Stone was eaten by these ghosts. Ha ha ha, if they have the ability. Yizichin laughed heartily, then raised his sickle high up. Charge. Kill. Stone also laughed. Then, everyone from Leisure House charged forward with their weapons in hand. Yizichin was their pillar of support. As long as he was there, then they had nothing to fear. At the City Lord's manor. Everyone landed in the manor's guest hall. Third Fatty Jean and Yizichin joined them. All of the vengeful spirits surrounding the city were eliminated. As for the remaining people outside, Third Fatty Jean, who held great power, naturally sent out his poor junior brothers. Chief Jean, it was all thanks to your help that Maple City was spared. Luo Wei, who sat on the City Lord's chair, stood up and bowed towards Third Fatty Jean. Surprisingly, Third Fatty Jean also stood up with a humble smile. I'm just following my master's orders. What's more, it wasn't just me that saved Maple City. It was the result of everyone's hard work. Yes, I have to thank Leisure House and the travelers and soldiers who died for Maple City. Luo Wei looked up at the sky with a solemn gaze, then bowed 3 times towards the sky. Everyone observed a moment of silence. This was only Maple City. The other cities definitely weren't any better. I wonder if City Lord Luo has any way of contacting the other cities? Yizichin asked with a frown. Luo Wei looked at him with a complicated expression, then nodded. Chapter 652. Identity. Everyone turned to look at Luo Wei. They saw him take out a jade slip from his pocket and draw circles on it with his finger. Old Luo, don't worry. We're already on our way to help you. As soon as the jade slip lit up, before Luo Wei could say anything, hearty laughter came from it. You guys weren't attacked? Luo Wei was momentarily stunned. From the tone of the city lords, it seems like they're in a much better situation than I imagined. The underworld and heavenly court have sent reinforcements to our cities, so there aren't many casualties. How's the situation on your side? Can you hold on? I have reinforcements from the immortal region, Luo Wei replied with a smile. The voice in the jade tablet clearly paused for a moment, then laughed. Kid, you're pretty lucky. Then we'll have our soldiers return to defend the city, but we still have to go to Maple City. However, we still have to go to Maple City. You can prepare a banquet to welcome us. You're still thinking about a feast at a time like this? You're too naive. Luo Wei's expression suddenly darkened. More than half of Maple City's soldiers and travelers have died, and you want me to host a banquet? Luo Wei, don't mind it too much. Aching is just like that. A female voice sounded out from the jade tablet. A woman's voice came from the jade slip. There's no need to prepare a banquet, just wait for us in Maple City. Aha. Luo Wei was in a bad mood, so he put the jade tablet back into his pocket with a sullen expression. Everyone in the room had heard their conversation clearly, so Yizichin's worried heart finally calmed down. At that moment, his phone rang. He gave everyone an apologetic look, then walked out the door with his phone. The person who sent the message was Su Yen. Yi Zichen slapped his thigh. I've been too focused on the cities in the outer regions of the Immortal region, but I forgot that the Endless Beast region might be attacked by wraiths as well. Yi Zichen clicked open Su Yan's message, and saw her concerned tone. Did you get attacked by wraiths? My big sister said that the wraiths attacked everywhere. Kiki and I have already dealt with it, so we're about to bring people over to help you. I've dealt with it as well. Are you guys hurt? The moment he sent the message, Su Yan sent him a video chat. Except, not long after, Su Yan's face appeared on the screen. Xia Kiki and Lu Lu sat beside her. Big brother Zichen. Xia Kiki giggled and waved at him. Through the screen, the three of them didn't seem to be injured. Yi Zichen let out a sigh, then raised his eyebrows with a smile. Hello. Hee, I told you that Zichengij would be fine. No matter how difficult a problem is, it's not a problem in front of him. You two still don't believe me. Xia Kiki wrinkled her nose and extended her hand towards Su Yan and Lu Lu, then looked at the other two. Damn. Was this another bet? I say, when did the three of you start betting on me? Oh my god. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. Xia Kiki smiled heartlessly, while Lu Lu shrugged innocently. Su Yan smiled sweetly. Kiki wants it, I can't do anything about it. Xia Kiki. Yi Zichen immediately called her name fiercely. Hearing that, Xia Kiki immediately stood up. Here. After shouting this, she scratched her head with an awkward smile. I'm used to being caught and yelled at by the counselors in university. Su Yan and Lu Lu both covered their mouths and giggled, while Yi Zichen, who was on the other side of the screen, couldn't help but laugh. Suddenly, Su Yan and Xia Kiki's expressions darkened. I wonder when I'll be able to return. I'll go back sooner or later. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and chuckled. It was as if everyone around him from the modern realm had the same question on their mind. Even he would often think about it at night. When would he be able to go back and live an ordinary life? Although they still lived like fish in water here, they were still people who lived in the modern world. Lil Yen, big sister, told me to ask you whether you need to go help Yi Zichen or not. The other minor races need our help as well. Su Zhu appeared in the video. When Yi Zichen saw her, he waved at her. Sister Su Zhu. You guys are chatting here. Su Zhu stared at the screen with wide eyes like a curious baby. Yi Zichen, can you hear me? Sure. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled. At the same time, Fatty Yin's figure also appeared on the screen. Zhujie is still with Fatty? Haha, it seems like I'll be attending your wedding soon. Kid Yi, I give you full marks for that assist. Fatty Yin laughed loudly in the room. Fatty Yin laughed loudly. Hearing that, Su Zhu blushed, then rolled her eyes at Yi Zichen. If you say anything more, then I won't let Lil Yen go and find you. Alright, since you don't look like you're in trouble, then we won't go over to your place. Alright, Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Then Su Zhu grabbed Fatty Yin's ear and left the room. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled. When he thought about Su Zhu's words, he couldn't help but ask, Can you come and find me? Su Yan smiled warmly. Big sister suddenly agreed to let me find you. Kiki, Lulu and I are going to go over to the Immortal region to find you after a while. That's great. Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and smile, while the three girls also giggled. After chatting for a while more, they turned off the video call. Yi Zichen walked back to the guest room with a relaxed heart after finding out that Su Yan and company weren't injured. Ziz, Yeezy, you're on cloud 9. Where did you go just now? Stone laughed. Yi Zichen smiled without replying, then walked back to his seat and sat down. Yi Zichen noticed that Luo Wei's gaze towards him contained a hint of caution and a hint of complicated emotions. City Lord Luo. Although I don't want to admit it, Sect Master Ye's leisure house has indeed helped the City Lord Manor too much this time. Luo Wei was not someone who couldn't see the bigger picture. The reason he wanted to kill Yi Zichen back then was purely to prevent the demons from harming the immortal region. However, Yi Zichen's actions had caused him to feel indebted to Yi Zichen too much. City Lord Luo, you still don't believe my identity? How am I supposed to believe you? Luo Wei sighed. Let's not talk about it. I, Luo Wei, owe you a favor this time, but if you are someone from the demon realm, then I still won't let you go. Demon realm. At that moment, Third Fatty Jean suddenly raised his eyebrows at Luo Wei with a look of confusion. Did you just say that Boss Luo is someone from the demon realm? Luo Wei remained silent. Although he was suspicious of Yi Zichen's identity, he didn't want the people of the immortal region to find out in case Yi Zichen got hurt. Sometimes, humans were such complicated creatures. However, Yi Zichen smiled nonchalantly. I have the wings of an abyssal, so City Lord Luo thinks that I'm someone from the demon realm. Sect Master Yi. Luo Wei was shocked. He didn't expect Yi Zichen to say it out loud. He had wanted to help Yi Zichen explain, but Third Fatty Jean suddenly snickered. Chapter 653. Chaos. Third Fatty Jean was very emotional. Even though Luo Wei was a late-stage sky immortal and the lord of a city, his gaze towards Third Fatty Jean was still filled with mockery and disdain. Who was Yi Zichen? He was a monumental figure in the immortal region, the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor who fought against Qiyu of the demon realm. Luo Wei actually said that he suspected Yi Zichen of being a demon. That was the greatest insult to the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Fatty. Yi Zichen frowned. From his perspective, there was no need for him to get angry over something like that. A horse's stamina is tested by time. No amount of useless explanations would be better than time to prove whether Yi Zichen was a demon or not. Heh. Third Fatty Jean looked at Luo Wei's disdainful snort. He knew very well why Yi Zichen stopped him. The atmosphere in the room was rather tense. Luo Wei also looked towards Third Fatty Jean in confusion. He couldn't help but look towards Yi Zichen. Could I have been wrong? However, he did see Yi Zichen's body grow a pair of wings that was recorded in the ancient books. It was said that all fallen geniuses of the demon realm would have wings. But from the looks of it, Yi Zichen has a good relationship with the people of the immortal region. If Yi Zichen truly was a demon, then he would have been detained by the people of the immortal region a long time ago. I hope City Lord Luo doesn't mind. Fatty didn't mean anything else. Yi Zichen smiled to ease the awkward atmosphere in the room. At the same time, Third Fatty Jean also rolled his eyes towards Luo Wei. Don't be like this, Luo Wei. If you suspect Boss Yi of being a demon spy, then you will be blacklisted by the immortal region. Even if you are the City Lord of Maple City, you will still be blacklisted by the immortal region. Fatty. I already warned him not to speak carelessly, but this guy still didn't let it go. Although Luo Wei knew that Third Fatty Jean was fighting for him, he didn't know that Third Fatty Jean was the Yellow Emperor. The reason why Third Fatty Jean suspected Third Fatty Jean was just being cautious. There was nothing to blame. If it was the other city lords, then they might just smile and let it go due to the sacred land of the immortal region. Luo Wei, he was famous for his stubbornness. Chief Jean, I don't like hearing that. Just because you have a good relationship with Yi Zichen, do you think I can't help you? You might as well tell me Yi Zichen's identity. I do want to know what his identity is for Chief Jean to trust him so much. In other words, Chief Jean is actually in the same boat as him. Impudent! Bang! Yi Zichen's muscular body instantly shot to his feet. His round, chubby face was filled with a frightening sharpness. Do you dare to repeat what you just said? When Luo Wei said this, he actually felt some regret. No matter what, he shouldn't have suspected that the immortal region would be in cahoots with the demons. You city lords of the outer regions have been living comfortably for too long. You actually dare to say anything? I think you've had enough of your city lord position, right? Alright, I'll go back and report to the sect to remove you from the city lord position. Fatty. However, this time, third Fatty Jean stood straight and glared at Luo Wei with a snort. Boss Yi, don't mind me. This isn't an issue of your identity anymore. A city lord from the outer regions of the Immortal Region actually suspects the sacred land of the Immortal Region. I wonder how everyone will view the Immortal Region if they find out. Chief Jean, don't use the city lord position to threaten me. I already said that there's no harm in telling you Yi Zichen's identity. If I, Luo Wei, am truly wrong, then I will definitely apologize and return the city lord's position, Luo Wei said with a dark expression. Luo Wei said with a dark expression. Everyone in the room stared blankly at the two of them. The atmosphere was fine just now. Why did it suddenly change? Yi Zichen also twitched his mouth. He didn't know what to do. It was all because of his identity. Boss Ye's identity might scare you to death if I tell you. But a mere city lord like you doesn't have the right to know, third Fatty Jean scolded coldly. Then he turned to look at Yi Zichen. Boss Yi, let's not stay here. Boss Yi, let's not stay here. I get angry just by looking at this kind of person. What's going on? I can hear Chief Jean getting angry from afar. The guards of the City Lord's Manor walked at the very front outside the guest hall of the City Lord's Manor, while a few armored men and women followed behind them. Behind them were Yang Jian and company from the Heavenly Court, as well as the people from the underworld led by Oxhead. Chief Jean, old Luo is stupid. Please don't lower yourself to his level. The person who spoke up was a man with a square face. The one who spoke was a man with a square face. Looking at his face, he had the air of a general. The heroic-looking armored woman beside him also couldn't help but giggle. Luo Wei couldn't help but snort when he saw them. You talk too much. The square-faced man laughed, then took off his helmet and put it on his waist. Let me introduce you. These masters behind me are all from the Heavenly Court and the Underworld. Ugh! What's going on? Just as he was about to introduce Yang Jian and company to them, he noticed that they were already chatting with Yi Zichen. Bro! Yang Jian quickly walked over when he saw Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen also walked over with a smile. You guys came. You sent a message in the group, so we came down with our troop. It was fortunate that we came down in time, and prevented more harm to the Immortal Region, Yang Jian chuckled. At the same time, pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li also took off his helmet and greeted Yi Zichen. Sky Sovereign. Heavenly King Li, you've worked hard. I haven't fully recovered from my injuries, so I asked you to come down with your troops. Yi Zichen smiled apologetically. Heavenly King Li quickly waved his hand. Sky Sovereign, you're making me, old Li, shiver. Those minor injuries are nothing. What's more, I don't have to personally deal with the Wraith. Hee, greetings to Sky Sovereign, Neza giggled. Yi Zichen rubbed his hair. Hee, third prince, looks really cool in that. Really? I think so too, Neza giggled on the side. Oxhead couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. You guys know each other? Neza smiled happily. Oxhead, who was beside him, was stunned. He could not help but raise his eyebrows. You all know each other? Old cow, I almost forgot to introduce you. This is, Oxhead spoke up. Brother Yi, I old Ox know him. Brother Yi, I old Ox know him. I still owe him tens of thousands of merits. Wait, he should be someone from the underworld. Why is your Heavenly Court? No, old Ox's brain isn't enough to process this. Can someone explain this to me? Someone from the underworld. Hearing that, Heavenly King Li couldn't help but laugh as well. This is Sky Sovereign Nameless of the Heavenly Court. He is the current Chief Cabinet Steward of the Heavenly Court. How could he be someone from the underworld? Chief Cabinet Steward. Oxhead scratched his head. Brother Yi is indeed someone from the underworld. Bullshit. Yet, at that very moment, third Fatty Jean, who had been suppressing his urge to speak, walked over and cursed. Boss Yi is someone from the Immortal Region. Boss Yi is someone from my immortal region. If you don't believe me, you can ask Boss Yi. Whoosh, all three sides looked towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile coyly when he felt everyone's questioning gazes. Chapter 654. None of them were normal people. The atmosphere at the scene was much more cheerful. All three sides stared at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen, who was the cause of the conflict, looked at the three sides in a daze. Just which side am I from? To be honest, he was rather close to the heavenly court. He had interacted quite a bit with the underworld, and he was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Don't care where I'm from, I'm definitely one of you, Yi Zichen answered ambiguously. Yi Zichen answered ambiguously, then abruptly changed the subject. Don't just focus on me, City Lord Luo and the others are still watching. With that, Yi Zichen looked towards Luo Wei and company and saw that they were the ones who were truly dumbfounded. It could be said that the city lords were all dumbfounded, especially the square-faced city lord who knew their identities. Stunned. Completely stunned. Yi Zichen scratched his head with a wry smile. He never expected the meeting to be like this. Thus, he coughed helplessly, causing Luo Wei and company to return to their senses. You must be the recently famous sect Master Yi, right? The square-faced city lord reached out his hand with a smile. I am the city lord of Jade Water City, Huozhen. The beautiful heroine beside me is the city lord of Hundred Flowers City, Lin Shiha. I don't dare to call myself a heroine. She is far from being comparable to City Lord Yi. City Lord Yi was extremely famous during the engagement ceremony between the Zhua and Mu families. When talking about Lin Shiha, it was better to say that she was more valiant than beautiful. He gave off a very capable feeling, a feeling that Yi Zichen had only ever felt from one person before. City Lord Lin is actually called Lin Shiha. I once had an old friend who has a very similar name to City Lord Lin. Sect Master Yi, why don't you tell me? I might know him, Lin Shiha joked. Lin Shiha laughed jokingly. Yi Zichen chuckled and said that person's name. Lin Xia. The square-faced Huozhen's expression instantly turned strange. Lin Shiha's smile also froze. Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he noticed their expressions. What is it? Sect Master Ye's name is Yi Zichen? Lin Shiha asked in a testing manner. Yes. Yi Zichen nodded, then instantly reacted. He opened his eyes wide and smiled wryly. It can't be Lin Xia, could it be that you, Lin Xia is indeed my younger sister? Lin Shiha couldn't help but smile wryly. My little sister has mentioned Sect Master Ye's name many times since she came to the Immortal Region. I really didn't expect the Yi Zichen she mentioned to be Sect Master Yi. Yi Zichen was truly a bit impressed. It seems like none of the people I've come into contact with in the modern realm are normal people. Haha, the world is really too small. I didn't expect Sect Master Yi to have such fate with Linlin City Lord. Huozhen grinned from the side, then bumped Luo Wei's shoulder and said, Old Luo, don't just stand there. There are so many of us, you can't just let us stand here, right? Why don't I see Nangong Cheng? Luo Wei frowned. Didn't he make you unhappy in the message just now? He said that he had to apologize to you. It seems like he went to look for treasures for you. He said in advance that we don't need to care about him. Huozhen smiled mischievously as he glanced at Luo Wei. Ai, old Luo, tell me the truth. Did the two of you have something going on in secret? He's always been single, and you haven't found another one after so many years. Ziziz. F***ck off. Luo Wei cursed with a dark expression. Hurry up and deal with Shiha when you have the time. Huozhen was immediately defeated. He laughed dryly, unable to speak. His relationship with Lin Shiha was rather awkward. Everyone, including the major factions and the city lords, knew of Huozhen's feelings for Lin Shiha. But what could he do? Falling flowers yearn for love, but heartless water flows. Ahem, let's find a place to sit down. Although Luo Wei had said in the Jade Tablet that he wasn't going to hold a banquet, he couldn't help it. Since so many experts had come, he couldn't help but hold a small one. Yang Jian and company sat near Yi Zichen at the table as if they were fighting for dominance. Third Fatty Jean also wanted to fight for it, but a single glance from Yang Jian caused him to back out bitterly. Why didn't Canopy Sky and the Great Sage come? Yi Zichen raised his wine glass. Yang Jian chucked a peanut into his mouth. The two of them went over to the Endless Beast region. The wraiths of the underworld attacked a very wide area this time, so the Endless Beast region was also attacked. They need to go over and help. It was the underworld's negligence. Sorry for troubling you. I, Old Ox, will punish myself with a cup of wine. Oxhead apologized with a coy smile. Yang Jian and the others waved their hands. Luo Wei and the other city lords didn't dare to accept Oxhead's apology. They all stood up from their chairs and downed the wine in their cups. The underworld's attack was too sudden, and the wraiths escaping is definitely not something the underworld wanted. Big Brother Ox, stop blaming yourself. Yi Zichen pulled Oxhead over to sit down. But Big Brother Ox and Big Brother Ma are the only ones who came out? But only Big Brother Ox and Big Brother Ma came out? The immortal region was attacked, but you should know that the wraiths escaped from the underworld. The situation in the underworld is even worse than the immortal region. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven personally came out and ordered Old Ma and I to reinforce the immortal region, while the others stayed inside to deal with the wraiths that did not escape in time. Oxhead smiled wryly. Yi Zichen couldn't help but nod. That was indeed the case. The underworld was the location of the attack, so the situation there was definitely much worse than the immortal region. Do you need our help? If you don't want the outsiders of the immortal region to get involved, then Yang Jian and company can help you. Yeah, Old Ox, just say the word if you need help. You don't need to worry about the underworld or the heavenly court anymore. My bro is the one who has the final say. He's pretty close to the underworld, so there's no need to hide anything. We're all family, Yang Jian agreed. Oxhead shook his head with a smile. No need for that. There's no need for that. If I really needed it, I definitely wouldn't hide it. Go find them if you need it. If they don't do their best to help, then I'll deduct their bonuses, Yi Zichen chuckled. Neza's face instantly turned pale. Sky Sovereign, don't deduct my bonuses. I promise to buy new clothes for Immortality Peachjejia next month, Neza chuckled. Everyone around them was amused by this little fellow. Heavenly Kingly laughed dryly at the crowd and glared at Neza vaguely. Heavenly Kingly, Neza has grown up. I've embarrassed myself in front of Sky Sovereign, Heavenly Kingly smiled coyly. Heavenly Kingly smiled sheepishly. No one made fun of Heavenly Kingly and his son again. At that moment, Yi Zichen also tapped the table with his fingers, then leaned back on his chair and raised his eyebrows. Chapter 655. Conjecture, Sect Leader Yi, everyone can see that this is organized and premeditated. Your words are no different from not saying anything. Luo Wei's words were aimed at Third Fatty Jean. Third Fatty Jean furrowed his brows and slammed the table. I think you're purposely looking for trouble. Why do you always stand out? Chief Disciple Jean, what do you mean? I'm just stating the facts. The demon realm destroyed the restrictions of the underworld and released vengeful spirits to wreak havoc in the three realms. If this wasn't premeditated by an organization, could it be that it was a whim of the other party? Luo Wei retorted firmly. He and Third Fatty Jean were enemies now. As for how this enmity came about, the two people involved might not be able to explain it clearly. Hey, you old brat, you're really, fatty. Yi Zichen ordered Third Fatty Jean to get down. This wasn't the time for them to fight amongst themselves. Third Fatty Jean sat down unwillingly. Yi Zichen looked towards Luo Wei and nodded. That's right. I understand City Lord Luo's meaning, but what I want to say is not what City Lord Luo is thinking. The organized and premeditated plan I am talking about is the vengeful spirit. What's wrong with vengeful spirits? Oxhead asked in confusion. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and organized his understanding of the number of wraiths he'd encountered in each city, as well as the range of their attacks. Then, he explained his deductions. The origin of vengeful spirits is caused by vengeful aura infecting the soul. It can be said that vengeful spirits do not have their own consciousness. However, all of you can think back. When you went to rescue or defend to the death, did you notice that these vengeful spirits' attacks were very methodical? The people in the room fell silent. They were probably all thinking about the situation at that time. After a long time, Huozhen raised his head and spoke with a frown. If sect leader Yi hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have felt it. Now that he mentioned it, I really feel that the attacks of those vengeful spirits are very organized. That is indeed the case. Lin Shiha couldn't help but arch an eyebrow. Then you can all think about it. Let's not talk about the Endless Beast region, since we didn't see it with our own eyes. Let's talk about the number of vengeful spirits that attacked the cities and villages outside the Immortal region. Yi Zichen threw out another question with a smile. The moment the question was asked, everyone in the room was speechless. The number of vengeful spirits had a hierarchy. I believe everyone understands that the number of vengeful spirits dispatched is in order of priority. When attacking a village, there were far fewer monsters than attacking a city. When attacking a city, the number of monsters would be divided according to the order of priority. Maple City has the most, and Pool City has the least. As for the place that will be directly affected by attacking Maple City, which one do you think will be affected? A sacred ground of the immortal realms. Luo Wei, who had been wearing a sullen expression the entire time, suddenly spoke. His face was filled with shock. These vengeful spirits, City Lord Luo Wei is too petty. Yi Zichen shook his head. The ambition of the sacred land of the immortal region does not stop there. Please enlighten me, sect leader Yi. At this moment, Luo Wei finally let go of his grudges and humbly asked for guidance. Yi Zichen smiled calmly. The entire three realms. Hua. Everyone in the room looked at Yi Zichen in shock. They couldn't understand why Yi Zichen would say something so shocking. Let me make a bold guess here. Before the vengeful spirit was released, it had already been instilled with some thoughts by someone. That's why when the vengeful spirits escaped from the underworld, they did not fly around randomly. Instead, they appeared in their minds with a clear goal in mind. Big Brother Ox said that most of the vengeful spirits stayed in the underworld, and only a small portion escaped. Even so, it still dealt a fatal blow to the various cities and villages. If all the vengeful spirits escaped, then what would happen to the outer regions of the immortal region? It's very likely, right? Luo Wei, Huozhen, Lin Shiha and the other city lords couldn't help but nod. Even if they didn't send out all of their forces, they might not be able to survive if the underworld, heavenly court, and immortal region didn't send out their forces. Then what will happen to the immortal region after the outer regions of the immortal region are destroyed? They will naturally blame it on the underworld's mismanagement. The relationship between the two sides is already tense, and such a major incident might cause a war between the two sides. What should I say about the Heavenly Court? The Heavenly Court participated from start to finish. They aren't the victims, nor are they at fault. Yang Jian frowned. Do you not understand the Jade Emperor's personality? Yi Zichen suddenly smiled coldly. If he sees the underworld and the immortal region fighting, would he just stand by and watch? He will definitely launch an attack when the two sides are locked in a fierce battle. Yang Jian fell silent. Even Heavenly King Li, who had always been loyal to the Jade Emperor, was unable to speak up for him. How could they not know the Jade Emperor's personality after knowing him for so long? He would definitely do something like that. When that happens, a storm of blood will definitely descend upon the three realms. The three realms didn't have any huge grudges against each other, but as the fight goes on, this grudge will become irreconcilable. Then there will only be more wars in the future. Yi Zichen said with a smile. When that happens, who do you think will be the happiest? The demon realm. Neza raised his hand to answer. Actually, everyone already had the same answer, but none of them were able to say it out loud. Only someone like Neza, who was still a child, could say it. I didn't expect those guys to be so evil. Yang Jian clenched his fists so hard that they cracked. Everyone else also remained silent with sullen expressions. Well, at least things didn't develop in the direction they expected. Yi Zichen smiled, then stretched lazily. That person didn't expect the underworld to react so quickly. Or rather, he didn't expect the great sacred emperor equaling heavens to personally make an appearance, preventing a portion of the vengeful spirits from escaping. He didn't expect that the three realms, which were supposed to be at odds with each other, would actually come to each other's aid at a time like this, causing his plan to go up in smoke. The demon realm has done a good thing. I didn't expect it to make the relationship between the three realms so much more harmonious, didn't it? Haha, brother is right. Yang Jian laughed out loud with a mocking smile on his face. Those fellows from the demon realm never would have guessed that their actions would ease the relationship between the three realms by quite a bit. Right now, we're all one big family in the three realms, and our powers are all tied together. If this group of devils dares to appear in front of Grandpa, I'll definitely teach them a lesson. Luo Wei and the others couldn't help but nod. Neza even giggled and shouted. But there's one thing that I need to point out. Yi Zichen interrupted the somewhat relaxed atmosphere and looked towards Oxhead. Oxhead noticed Yi Zichen's gaze, so he suddenly nodded. Chapter 656. The coming of chaos. The atmosphere in the room was slightly gloomy, especially for the people from the underworld. They had long suspected that there might be spies within Hell's rank. The incident in the Howling Canyon that day was still vivid in his mind. The Kitagarbha Bodhisattva had also investigated in secret, but he had not been able to find anything. Coupled with the fact that no similar incidents occurred in the later stages of Hell, the matter was put on hold. Never in their wildest dreams would they have imagined that they would receive such a huge gift today. There will definitely be spies, and their level won't be low. Yi Zichen smiled. Only ghost marshals would be able to contact the 18 levels of Hell without the underworld suspecting them. If that was the case, then the number of people that could be investigated would be significantly reduced. Indeed. Oxhead nodded with a sullen face. At least he had some direction in his heart. Looks like Big Brother Oxhead already has a plan, then I won't say anything more. No matter what, this is an internal problem of Hell. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven has also come out of seclusion, so it's only a matter of time before he catches the spy. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, while Oxhead nodded indifferently. Horseface looked at the two of them with a dumbfounded expression and couldn't help but ask, "Big Brother Oxhead, what are you talking about? With your IQ, it's hard for you to understand what we're saying. Just eat your meal." Oxhead rolled his eyes at Horseface in annoyance. Horseface pursed his lips and did not retort. He lowered his head and picked some food into his bowl. What's more important is that we don't have a single clue as to what's going on right now. After sending Horseface away, Oxhead narrowed his eyes and frowned. In a situation like this, everyone is in danger. Even if the great emperor comes out, he can't wantonly suspect others without evidence. After all, these ghost envoys in the underworld are all elders of the underworld. Especially at our level, it hasn't changed in tens of thousands of years. That will depend on the great sacred emperor equaling heaven's choice. He is the highest leader of the underworld. Due to Yang Jian and Company's presence, neither Yi Zichen nor anyone else from the leisure house did anything else. Instead, he stayed in Maple City to help the city lord's mansion distribute funds to the surrounding villages. Damn it, these bastards from the demon world are really vicious. I'm just too weak. If I had the cultivation base of a celestial immortal, I would definitely have a good fight with the devil realm. Looking at the village and the survivors after the vengeful spirits attacked, the coarse man Rock couldn't help but curse. Stop boasting. Even if you have the strength of a sky immortal, what can you do? Xueqi, who was organizing the resources, couldn't help but say. Look at Yi Zi. Is he strong? Did he hate the demon realm? But wasn't that all he could do now? Don't underestimate the problem. Stone let out a sigh, then looked up at Yi Zichen, who was smiling towards the children in the village. Old Xue, what do you think Brother Ye's identity is? That fatty from the sacred land of the immortal region almost got into a fight with Luo Wei because of him. The people of the underworld and heavenly court also have a close relationship with him. Who knows, but his identity is definitely not simple. Xueqi smiled faintly. Stone couldn't help but roll his eyes at him and ignore him. Who couldn't tell that Yi Zichen's identity wasn't simple? The situation in this village isn't too bad. Let's go to the next village. Yi Zichen walked out of the village, and walked beside Xueqi and company with a wreath made by a child around his neck, while the villagers continuously waved towards him. Would Luo Wei be so mad if he finds out? Stone suddenly asked. Yi Zichen, who was bidding farewell to the villagers, turned around with a smile. What is it? What is it? It's clearly the city lord's manor that gave the money for disaster relief, but you seem to have taken all the good fame. Stone raised his eyebrows towards the villagers. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. What fame is there? Let's hurry up and go to the next village. We'll try to go to 2 more villages before the sky turns dark. All right, no problem. Stone jumped onto the carriage. Yi Zichen and Xueqi looked at each other, then shook their heads with a smile. Just as they were about to get on, at that very moment, the disciple that third fatty Jean brought over from the immortal region was covered in blood as he wobbled in the air on his sword. When the disciple saw Yi Zichen on the ground, he put away his sword and fell from the sky. Seeing this, Yi Zichen hurried over. He first checked the man's pulse, then took out a pill from his pocket and stuffed it into his mouth. Ahem. The disciple lying on the ground, covered in blood, opened his eyes and coughed violently. What's wrong with you? Didn't you go to clear the vengeful spirits, boss? Boss Yi. The disciple grabbed Yi Zichen's arm, then pointed to the north. Senior apprentice brother. Senior apprentice brother, he saved? Master Bang. The disciple fainted once again before he could finish his sentence. Yi Zichen frowned and injected spiritual energy into the disciple to ensure that his life was not in danger, then turned around to look at Stone and Xueqi. What's wrong with him? If I'm not mistaken, third fatty Jean should be in danger. Stone, send him back to Leisure House. Xueqi, continue sending out the relief supplies. I'll go look for Fatty in the direction the disciple pointed out. Yi Zichen calmly gave out the orders. When he saw Xueqi and Stone nod, he soared into the sky and flew towards the north. Sure too, remember to inform the city lord's mansion when you return. Tell them to be ready to send reinforcements at any time. Xueqi added after Yi Zichen left. Stone, who had just placed his disciple on the carriage, frowned. Old Xue, do you think they need reinforcements? It's better to be safe than sorry. From the very beginning, I felt that this matter couldn't be resolved so easily. Since they wanted to wreak havoc in the 3 realms, they wouldn't have caused such a huge commotion if it were so easy to resolve. Looks like it's just as I expected. This should be the second wave of attack from the Devil Realm. Stone also sensed the severity of the situation. He nodded towards Xueqi without saying anything else, then quickly drove the carriage away. Xueqi sighed as he walked towards the carriage filled with supplies. Chaos is coming. Just what went wrong? With third fatty Jean and company's strength, they shouldn't have ended up like that when dealing with wraiths. Yi Zichen frowned as he stood in the sky and scanned the area below with his fiery eyes of truth. Apart from losing a lot of blood, the disciple also seemed to have a faint aura of death on him. Fortunately, the aura of death was rather light, so Yi Zichen immediately wiped it away. Although it's a wraith, it shouldn't be like that, right? Could it be? Chapter 657. A Hero Retreat, Retreat! Third Fatty Jean roared at his junior brothers behind him as he wielded his hammer. His eyes were about to pop out of their socket. There were tens of thousands of wraiths in front of him, but their numbers didn't mean much. If they were just normal wraiths with spiritual bodies, they would be nothing to Third Fatty Jean and his group. However, the weakest of the wraiths was an earth immortal. All of the wraiths had physical bodies. Their originally gray eyes were pitch black without a trace of white. Their blood-red fangs dripped with blood, and their sharp claws tore at Third Fatty Jean's body. Senior brother! F***ck off. Third Fatty Jean kept swinging his hammer as he cursed viciously. What the F***ck are you looking at? I told you to F***ck off. Don't you understand me? If I tell you to F***ck off, then F***ck off. Stop being an eyesore. Senior brother. The disciples were all stained with blood. Many of them were missing an arm or a few chunks of flesh. If they had to use a word to describe their current situation, the word miserable was the only word that could match their current situation. Someone went to find Boss Yi. Boss Yi will come and save us. Boss Yi. Third Fatty Jean was stunned, then cursed. Who the F***ck told you to find Boss Yi? Do you want Boss Yi to come and die? A bunch of useless trash. F***ck off. Don't let me see you again. Senior brother, we don't, bang. One of the junior brothers felt a heavy blow to his head before he could finish his sentence. He looked down and saw that it was Third Fatty Jean's hammer that smashed onto his head. F***ck off. I told you to F***ck off. Senior brother. I'm begging you. Hurry up and run. Do you all want to die here? How am I going to explain it to Master if you all die? I'm begging you, just run. Third Fatty Jean suddenly had a helpless look on his face. Many of the female disciples around him were already in tears. Let's go. One of the disciples clenched his teeth and dragged the disciples around him away on their swords. Only then did Third Fatty Jean reveal a gratified smile. What a bunch of cute little fellows. He suddenly turned around and saw Third Fatty Jean holding a giant hammer in his right hand, revealing his bloodied teeth. For the sake of these little fellows, why don't you eat me? But for an old man like me, even if you want to eat me, I won't let myself be captured without putting up a fight. He reached into his robe and a blood-red pill appeared in his palm. This was the blood demon pill that great Emperor Qingming had given him before he left. After eating it, it would cause one's blood to go berserk and squeeze out one's potential. However, the price he paid was that after 3 hours, the effects of the medicine would wear off, and his meridians would be severed, and he would become an ordinary person. When great Emperor Qingming gave him this pill, he sneered and didn't think much of it. He didn't think that great Emperor Qingming would be stupid enough to eat such a pill. But now, he still chose to eat it. It's better to be a hero for a moment than to be a coward for a lifetime. Even if he died in battle, at least he was once glorious. Third Fatty Jean threw the pill into his mouth without hesitation. In just a few breaths of time, all the veins on his body had popped up. The veins on his body tightened, and his bean-sized eyes glowed with a blood-red light. Suddenly, the red light around Third Fatty Jean shone brightly. His black hair also instantly turned red, and his raging spiritual energy flickered with a blood-red light. He continuously broke through his shackles, and continuously climbed upwards as if there was no end to it. Complete stage human immortal. Sky immortal. Early stage sky immortal. Mid-stage sky immortal. This pill almost sent him to the peak of the heavenly immortal stage before his ascension came to a halt. Third Fatty Jean was dazed for a moment as he felt the power filling his body. Then, he smiled evilly. Bastards, come and eat me! Boom. He smashed the huge hammer in his hand onto the ground, causing a crack to appear. He grinned and charged towards the center of the wraiths with a bloodthirsty expression. Thud. With every strike of his hammer, a few of the vengeful spirits would perish. But at the same time, there would be a few scratches left behind by the wraiths on his body. It's nothing. Come again. Third Fatty Jean didn't care about his injuries, or rather, he didn't want to care about them anymore. He knew that even if he survived after using the blood demon pill, he would only be a cripple. So what if he survived? He might as well let out his last bit of warmth, and let the entire 3 realms remember his name. Come, Buzz. A huge sound wave passed through the wraiths' bodies from his mouth. The birds in the forest chirped and the beasts howled. The Immortal Region disciples who were rushing towards Maple City on their swords couldn't help but close their eyes when they saw the birds flying out of the forest. I've missed out on eldest senior brother in the past. He deserves to be the chief disciple. The one who spoke was the first disciple who agreed to leave. This disciple was the chief disciple under Great Emperor Qingming. He and Third Fatty Jean were competitors when they fought for the position of chief disciple. In the end, he lost. He had always harbored hatred in his heart and looked down on Third Fatty Jean, the chief disciple. But it was only today that he was truly convinced. In front of the wraiths, Third Fatty Jean was willing to let his junior brothers leave unscathed. If it was him, it would be very difficult for him to stay behind to stop the bloodthirsty wraiths. At the very least, he wouldn't do it without any hesitation like Third Fatty Jean. Senior brother. The surrounding junior brothers kept muttering Third Fatty Jean's name. At that moment, Third Fatty Jean's influence was incomparably great in their hearts. Let's go. We don't know how long senior brother Jean can stop those wraiths. Let's hurry back to Maple City. The underworld swore that the strongest wraiths are Earth immortals, and it's impossible for them to be human immortals. But those wraiths just now were sky immortals. We need to demand an explanation from the underworld. Yes, we need an explanation. The Immortal Region disciples flew towards Maple City aggressively on their swords. Little did they know that Third Fatty Jean had already been forced to the edge of a cliff by the wraith. His strength had indeed skyrocketed after eating the blood demon pill, but even if he was an immortal king, there were over 10,000 wraiths with average strength of mid-stage human immortals. So what? I'm regretting it. Third Fatty Jean's eyes narrowed into slits as he walked to the edge of the cliff. I've decided not to let you guys eat it. Bye-bye. Third Fatty Jean took a step back and fell to the bottom of the cliff. The wraiths all surrounded the cliff, but did not dare to come down. Third Fatty Jean smiled faintly as he felt the wind pushing against his back. Chapter 658. Theory. Third Fatty Jean slowly closed his eyes, then opened his arms. Hey, that's enough for me, right? Hurry up and change the camera to somewhere else. Third Fatty Jean, who was falling down the cliff, couldn't help but retort. Third Fatty Jean, who was falling towards the bottom of the cliff, couldn't help but complain. He wasn't cool for more than 3 seconds, but the camera just moved perfectly when he was at his coolest. The main character is here. Can the camera be changed? At that moment, Yi Zichen flapped his black wings and flew towards Third Fatty Jean, then grabbed him. You're already dying at such a young age. Did you get a wife? Did you confess to the second senior sister you admired? Did you pay back the food money you owe the cafeteria uncle? Also, have you enjoyed the admiration of those junior sisters of yours? You want to die without doing anything? Aren't you being too useless? Boss Yi. Third Fatty Jean opened his eyes wide and revealed a joyful expression. Bullshit, who would want to die if they could live? Didn't he have no other choice back then, so he tried to find a cooler camera to end his life? He wanted to leave his most glorious moment in the hearts of the audience, but honestly, he didn't want to die. But something's off. I didn't say anything about what happened just now. How did Boss Yi know? Boss Yi, how did you know that I like second senior sister and owe the cafeteria uncle money? Third Fatty Jean opened his eyes wide. Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned, then replied, Was I right just now? Actually, I was just randomly guessing. Can I scold you? Third Fatty Jean couldn't help but ask after several tens of seconds of silence. If you want me to throw you down, then you can scold me. A dying man's words are kind. Go ahead, I can take it, Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled. Third Fatty Jean shrunk his neck and thought about his beautiful future. Never mind, I'll just endure it. But I still want to tell you something. Yi Zichen, who had been dragging Third Fatty Jean, squinted his eyes. It seems like you King screwed me over. We can't get out. What? Third Fatty Jean glared. Didn't you feel it? The wind cave in the canyon seems to only allow entry and not exit. There's a wind wall above the canyon that I can't fly over. I already tried several times just now. Boss Yi, stop messing around. I'm not messing with you. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. Third Fatty Jin's expression immediately darkened as he cursed. Then why did you come down? Laozi's good scene was ruined by you. I've cowered when I should, and I've stirred up emotions when I should, but you actually said that I can't go up. I thought that I was sacrificing myself for the happiness of all mankind. This time, the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation will die with me. My master will definitely curse me after I die. Yi Zichen couldn't help but scratch his head with a smile when he heard Third Fatty Jin's retort. This is my fault. Why don't we delete this part and reenact it? Scram. If you want to die, then let's die together. With that, Third Fatty Jean hung on to Yi Zichen like an octopus, causing Yi Zichen's expression to darken. F*CK let go. Laozi can't fly. Maple City, Castellan's residence. Brother Shui, you must be thinking too much. The wraiths are only at the Earth immortal level at most. Those wraiths can't pose any threat to Brother Yi. Yang Jian patted Shui Qi's shoulders. Yang Jian repeatedly patted Shui Qi's shoulder. Shui Qi had been worried ever since Yi Zichen left. After sending off a village, Shui Qi went straight to the city lord's manor to ask for reinforcements. If you don't believe me, then Oxhead is someone from the underworld. He definitely knows the strength of the wraith. What's more, Neza, Luowei and company have already left. It's only a matter of time before Yi Zichen returns. I can guarantee that. The wraiths are not stronger than the Earth immortal level, Oxhead promised. At that moment, several hundred immortal region disciples with swords in their hands descended from the city lord's manor. The immortal region disciples are back. It seems like Yi Zichen should be back as well. Inside the room, Yang Jian stood up from the chair with a faint smile and followed the other people in the room to the door. When they arrived at the door, they noticed that all of them had bloodshot eyes. Even though they were heavily injured, they all stood up straight and stared at Oxhead and Horseface of the underworld. You guys? Yang Jian couldn't help but ask. Sun Yuanjia, who had once fought with Third Fatty Jean for the chief disciple position, smiled, then pointed his sword at Oxhead. Oxhead, let me ask you. Did you say that wraiths are no stronger than the Earth immortal level? Yes, Oxhead nodded. I did say that wraiths are no stronger than the Earth immortal level. Everyone here should know this very well. We've fought with wraiths so many times already. Are there any special circumstances? Sun Yuanjia asked. Yes, but even if there are special circumstances, it is impossible for them to be stronger than the Earth immortal level. The constitution of a wraith determines its strength. It can only be a complete stage Earth immortal at most. Sun Yuanjia suddenly let out an unbridled laugh, and the juniors behind him all stared at him coldly. What are you guys doing? Something's wrong. Why are you guys so heavily injured? Shouldn't you be clearing out the remaining wraiths? Could it be that you've encountered people from the Devil Clan? Then how is my brother Yi? Have you seen him? Yang Jian's questions were like cannonballs spitting out of his mouth. Sun Yuanjia's lips curled into a mocking smile. Wraiths. We did clear out wraith. We didn't encounter any demons either. Then why are you guys injured? Yang Jian raised his brows. Sun Yuanjia snorted. Aren't our injuries caused by wraiths? Yang Jian's eyes widened. Oxhead couldn't help but shake his head. That's impossible. There's just a large number of wraith. Unless you guys encountered a wave of wraiths, you guys wouldn't be injured like this. Also, it's been a few days since we cleared out the wraith. Yang Jian and I have already cleared out a large area. It's impossible for there to be a wave of wraith. It's not a wave of wraith. We only went with tens of thousands of wraiths. Then how? But the weakest of them are at the complete stage of the earth immortal level, while the strongest are at the sky immortal level. Sun Yuanjia fiercely gritted his teeth. The arm holding the immortal sword trembled violently. In order to protect us, our eldest senior brother personally stayed behind to bring up the rear. We didn't return to the immortal region directly because we wanted to ask the underworld a question. Why did you lie to us? I didn't. That's impossible. Oxhead kept shaking his head. It's impossible for wraiths to break through the earth immortal level. You said that tens of thousands of them are at least complete stage earth immortals. That's complete nonsense. So you're saying that I'm lying to you? Chapter 659. The herb garden under the cliff. The relationship between the three realms had just eased up. In order to prevent the conflict between the two sides from deepening, Yang Jian suggested rushing to the location of the incident first. The other disciples of the immortal region stayed at the city lord's manor to recuperate. Sun Yuanjia brought Yang Jian and Oxhead to the location with a dark expression. Where are the vengeful spirits you mentioned? Oxhead spread out his spiritual sense, but he didn't sense any vengeful spirits' auras within 100 kilometers. Do you think I'm lying to you? Sun Yuanjia glared at Oxhead and frowned. It's already been so long. Do you think those vengeful spirits are waiting here for you to surround them? Is that so? Oxhead still didn't believe that vengeful spirits were as strong as sky immortals. His tone was also filled with disbelief. Sun Yuanjia was about to get angry, but Yang Jian stopped him. He couldn't allow these two to continue quarreling. If this continued, the immortal region and the underworld might even start fighting. This way, at this moment, Yang Jian raised his eyebrows and took a few steps forward. He squatted down and looked for a while before stopping at the cliff. There are obvious signs of fighting nearby, but it stopped here, Wang Yao said. Can you confirm who it is? Oxhead asked. Yang Jian sighed. I can confirm that one of them used a huge hammer. I can't identify the other. The one with the huge hammer is my senior brother, and the other is the vengeful spirit. Sun Yuanjia's eyes were bloodshot, and he clenched his fists tightly. If it wasn't for the fact that the underworld provided them with wrong information, they wouldn't have fallen into the vengeful spirit's ambush. Third Fatty Jean wouldn't have fought with the vengeful spirits just to cover their retreat. The signs of fighting stopped at the cliff. Didn't that mean Third Fatty Jean, Oxhead, the immortal region can't just let this go? After viciously saying this, Sun Yuanjia left on his immortal sword without looking back. Yang Jian wanted to ask him to stay, but seeing his determined expression, he could only shake his head and sigh. Could it really be vengeful spirits? At this moment, Oxhead couldn't help but frown. Yang Jian shook his head and said, I'm not sure if it's a vengeful spirit or not. However, the people of the immortal region have already developed enmity towards the underworld. They might really come looking for you in the future. Humph, so be it. Do you think my underworld is afraid of them? A small immortal realm that didn't even have immortal king experts, allowing them to form their own realm, was already showing them respect. If they really want to fight against the underworld, they're not qualified. Oxhead's tone was somewhat disdainful. Yang Jian glanced at him and patted his shoulder. Brother, you stole my character settings. I, Yang Ritian, should be the one saying that. But now is not the time to worry about whether or not the immortal region will cause trouble for your underworld. Don't forget that the demon realm is still stirring on the sidelines. This is not the time for us to have internal strife. What can I do? Little did they know that Oxhead knew that as well. Unfortunately, Sun Yuanjiao was already adamant that this was a problem with hell. Since the person in question couldn't see it, nor could he witness it, He could only suffer in silence. He wouldn't be able to speak up in the future. Moreover, even if what Sun Yuanjia said was true, his words were a bit too extreme. With third Fatty Jin's status in the immortal region, his spirit tablet would definitely be in the ancestral hall. If the spirit tablet didn't shatter, it meant that he didn't die. As long as Sun Yuanjia returned to the immortal region and took a look at the spirit tablet, it wouldn't be too late to cause trouble for the underworld if it shattered. If not, they could just save him together. His words had directly strained their relationship. Oxhead couldn't think of any benefits for the immortal region. There's actually something wrong with that immortal region disciple too. At the same time, Yang Jian also mentioned this point and frowned. His words were a bit extreme, but he didn't mention anything about wanting to save third Fatty Jin. He just kept forcing you to admit your mistakes, and use the immortal region's name to deal with the underworld. That's right. Oxhead nodded noncommittally. Yang Jian walked to the edge of the cliff and took a few glances. The first thing we need to do is to find third Fatty Jin. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. I feel that there's something wrong with this cliff. Let's not go there rashly. When Oldley comes back, let him take a look. He's experienced and knowledgeable, he might have a way. No problem. King let go. We're both going to fall to our deaths later. Yi Zichen, who was falling down the cliff, continuously pulled on third Fatty Jin's arm. In order to save his own life, third Fatty Jin let go awkwardly. Yi Zichen quickly flapped his wings to cushion the fall, while the two of them slowly landed on the ground. Oh my God, Boss Yi, we're rich! Third Fatty Jin, who had just stabilized his footing, ran over to the nearby herb garden with shining eyes. The fragrance of the herb garden filled the air. Third Fatty Jin couldn't help but gulp as he looked at the priceless herbs in the outer immortal region, and mumbled to himself. 1,000-year crane tail grass. Ginseng essence. 1,000-year qilin grass. Oh my God, if I can take even one of these herbs out, then Laozi will be able to enjoy endless wealth. Third Fatty Jin opened his mouth and nearly drooled as he looked at the herbs in front of him. Yi Zichen put on a jacket and walked in front of the herb garden with a bit of hesitation. There were cliffs on both sides of the valley. Normally speaking, light shouldn't be able to reach the bottom of the valley. However, the bottom of the valley was very bright, as if it was daytime above. What's more, this herb garden was clearly taken care of by someone. Could there be someone here? Boss Yi, we really struck it rich this time. Third Fatty Jin grabbed Yi Zichen's arm excitedly. Let's gather all of the herbs in this garden. That's a treasure tower. Don't be an idiot here. Even if you can pick them, we have to be alive to spend them. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance, then looked at the signal on his phone's screen. The small waves that would appear whenever he came to the three realms had disappeared. He opened his social media app, but it only said, "Please check your network settings." Yi Zichen looked up at the cliffs on both sides. There was also a wind cave in the center of the valley. System, calling the system. Yi Zichen finally thought of his system in such a desperate situation. However, the system ignored him this time. It seems like something happened this time. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth with a dark expression. Meanwhile, third Fatty Jin, who was standing near the herb garden, continuously rubbed his hands as he looked at the herbs. No, Laozi can't care so much anymore. If I don't pick up all this money, then I'll have nightmares. With that, third Fatty Jin took out a porcelain bottle and carefully walked in front of one of the herbs. Crack. A pebble knocked his hand away. Third Fatty Jin looked up and saw a young girl with her hands on her hips, looking at him angrily. Chapter 660. Medicine Human. This rebuke caused third Fatty Jin, who was about to pluck the herb, to stop. It was also at this moment that he was absent-minded that the ginseng spirit under his hand burrowed out from the ground and ran in front of the girl. "Don't be afraid, big sister will protect you." The girl patted the ginseng spirit's little head, and the ginseng spirit nodded like a human before burrowing into the ground. Third Fatty Jean glared at the girl a few times. Why is there someone here? Just who are you guys? Why are you bullying my little brother and sister? I'm telling you, don't think that we're easy to bully. Hurry up and leave before I get angry. The girl put her hands on her waist and guarded the herb garden behind her like an old hen. Little brother and sister. Third Fatty Jean caught on to that phrase once again. He squinted his bean-sized eyes and looked towards the girl with a judgmental gaze. The girl in front of him was clearly more childish compared to the other children. Coupled with the way she called the spiritual herbs, if I'm not mistaken, Third Fatty Jean's eyes shone brightly as he muttered in his heart. Just what did I, old Jean, do in my previous life for me to actually run into a medicine human? A medicine human, as the name suggested. A spiritual herb that could turn into a human. Spiritual herbs that could turn into a human were all peerless among spiritual herbs, and it took several tens of thousands of years for them to turn into a human. Not to mention sky immortal experts, even immortal kings and even people of the god realm would fight for a medicine human of that level. Back then, before the Jade Emperor broke through, he had once spent all of his fortune in order to get a medicine human. But it didn't work. Thus, he had no choice but to go through several tens of thousands of tribulations and cultivate. Not only could a medicine human help a person break through, it also had countless other effects. It could be said that it was only a matter of time for anyone who could get a medicine human to become stronger. Why are you looking at me like that? Hurry up and leave, the girl pouted. The girl pouted. Third Fatty Jean took 2 steps back and stood in front of Yi Zichen. Boss Yi. What's going on with this girl? Yi Zichen was a bit confused. He had thought that it was impossible for anyone to survive in this place, but the moment that thought appeared, reality smacked him in the face. But this girl seems to be a bit dumb. Did she become dumb from the fall? Herbman, this girl is a herbman. Third Fatty Jean mumbled carefully, we've really struck it rich this time. You're strong enough to subdue that herbman. With these medicine men, let alone the 3 realms, even in the upper realm, we can do whatever we want. As he spoke, Third Fatty Jean raised his eyebrows at the girl from time to time. So strong. What do you think? Third Fatty Jean licked his lips and mumbled, it's very difficult to catch a normal herbman. Those old foxes won't just let themselves be. This medicine person is different. She has probably never left this valley before. She is as pure as a little white flower. This is definitely beneficial to us. Then what? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Then naturally I'll capture her. My boss Yi, glory, splendor, wealth and rank are all in this gamble. With that, Third Fatty Jean suddenly turned around and gave Yi Zichen a look, signaling him to act according to the situation. He then walked towards the girl with a pill in his hand. Little girl, do you want to eat it? Third Fatty Jean had heard about giving a herbman a pill from his master. Every part of a herbman's body was a treasure, so she was naturally very picky. Only pills could interest her. As expected, the moment Third Fatty Jean took out the pill, the girl's eyes lit up with interest, and her nose twitched non-stop. You're really giving it to me? Her eyes were filled with desire. Seeing this, Third Fatty Jean's lips curled up slightly. Of course, this pill is for you. Third Fatty Jean slowly handed the pill over, while the girl continuously blinked her eyes in an attempt to take it. Just as Third Fatty Jean's lips curled into a strange smile, the girl also mysteriously smiled. Bang! She kicked Third Fatty Jean 10-odd meters away, then shattered the seals Third Fatty Jean had set up with her fist. I can tell that you're not a good person. Do you think I'm stupid enough to fall for it? The girl raised her head proudly, but the desire in her eyes for the pill in Third Fatty Jean's hand was not fake at all. She really did want to eat that pill. This doesn't make sense. Third Fatty Jean, who was lying on the ground, rubbed his butt in confusion. How did this girl notice my plan? Actually, he had thought it through very well. He had set up a formation when he gave her the pill. It was impossible for a herb man like this girl, who had never seen the world, to know about a spiritual formation. She was completely focused on the pill, so she didn't pay attention to the spiritual formation that she didn't understand. Once the spiritual formation was formed and trapped her within, she wouldn't be able to escape even if she grew wings. "Baddie, you're a baddie just like the guy who came before," the girl pouted angrily like an angry tiger. The girl pouted angrily like an angry tiger cub. Hearing that, both Third Fatty Jean and Yi Zichen were stunned. Someone came before. "Little girl, did anyone come to this valley before?" Yi Zichen couldn't help but ask. "Why should I tell you?" The girl tilted her head and wrinkled her nose. "You're with that person. They're all baddies, so I'm not going to tell you." Yi Zichen smiled in his heart, then took out a pill and placed it in his hand. "As long as you tell me, I'll give you this candy." The girl continuously licked her lips, while her eyes were filled with desire. However, she shifted her gaze away and snorted. "Hey, you still want to trick me? I'm not an idiot." "How could I?" Yi Zichen directly chucked the pill towards the girl. When the girl saw the pill flying towards her, she leaped up and caught it, then chucked it into her mouth. Her expression of enjoyment was like that of a kitten. She had cute dimples on her face, while her eyes squinted into slits in happiness. "You're a good person." After eating the pill, the girl looked up at Yi Zichen with a giggle. "If I tell you, can you give me another candy?" "Of course," Yi Zichen nodded. What he gave the girl just now was merely the lowest grade pill. Even if she wanted to eat 10,000 pills a day, Yi Zichen would still be able to give it to her. "Then I'll tell you. About half a month ago, an old man in black clothes came here. He was so fierce, he wanted to take away my little brother and sister the moment he came, and tricked me with candy to catch me." "An old man in black clothes? Can you be more specific?" There was a skull on his forehead that seemed to be on fire." The girl tilted her head. Yi Zichen frowned, while the image of a person suddenly appeared in his mind. The old man who nearly killed the great sage, and Yuan Hong in the demon realm, had this mark on his forehead. "Then what happened?" Yi Zichen asked nervously. He understood the old man's strength very well. Even the system couldn't do anything to him. Chapter 661. Chapter 661. The system's arrangements beat him away? Yi Zichen opened his eyes wide, and continuously checked out the girl in front of him. The girl looked very weak, and gave off the feeling of a girl from a rich family in ancient times. Her eyes were bright, yet filled with innocence, as if she wasn't affected by the world at all. If the girl really beat away an old man that even the system feared, then just how strong is this girl? "Why are you looking at me like that?" The girl blinked in confusion. At the same time, she walked over to Yi Zichen's side and reached out her hand towards him. "Give me some candy." "Here." Yi Zichen took out a pill and chucked it into the girl's hand, then shook one in front of her. "Then tell me, where did the old grandpa go after you beat him away?" "He flew away." The girl pursed her lips and thought. The girl pursed her lips and rolled her eyes in thought. "He realized that he might not be able to defeat me, so he said nothing and flew out from above." Yi Zichen frowned. How did the old man get out? There was clearly a wind cave above the cliff, and there was no way to forcefully break through it. Could a supreme-level expert be able to ignore the existence of the wind cave? Ding-dong. The phone in Yi Zichen's pocket rang. He quickly took it out, and saw that there was still no signal. System. The only thing that could contact him at a time like this was the system. Yi Zichen clicked open the social media app on his phone, and saw that the system had indeed sent him a message. System notification. "I heard you landed in the Valley of Death. Congratulations." Yi Zichen's expression instantly darkened when he saw the message. "Look at your gloating expression. I don't have the time to talk about this with you right now. Hurry up and get me up. There's a wind cave above the valley, I can't go up." System notification. I can't do anything about that. Can you give me that candy? The herb girl walked behind Yizichin and asked faintly. Yizichin turned around and directly handed her a bottle of human-grade recovery pills without thinking too much. The girl immediately walked to the side with a smile when she saw the pill, then sat beside him happily and tossed them into her mouth one by one. How can you not do anything? That old guy from the demon realm came here, but he ignored the wind cave and left. System notification. Old guy from the demon realm? Who are you talking about? The old man who was crippled by the great sage and the others. System notification. How is this possible? How did he get here? How did you know? I have a medicine girl with me. She said that the old man came and wanted to capture her. System notification. You have a herb man with you? What Yizichin didn't know was that the system, which was currently messaging Yizichin, was at the edge of the cliff. Beside him was Fatty, who was holding the 8-formation diagram of Qian Yuan. The system, dressed in white, frowned deeply. He did not know when the direction of the world had started, but it was no longer heading in a direction that he did not know. Not to mention the experts of the devil world. He didn't even have any impression of that girl. What's wrong? Did something happen? Fatty Een put away the 8-formation origin diagram, then said, the person who set up the wind cave was definitely an expert amongst formation masters. My attainments in formations are only half-baked, so even with the help of the 8-formation origin diagram, I still wouldn't be able to destroy it. There are herbmen at the bottom of the valley. Herbman? Fatty Yin's chubby body trembled. He carefully walked to the edge of the cliff and exclaimed as he looked at the bottomless valley. There are actually herbmen at the bottom of the valley. Did Yi Brat tell you? I'm contacting him right now, the white-shirt man nodded. The white-clothed man nodded noncommittally. The trajectory of the world has already changed. It's definitely a joyous occasion for him to encounter the herbman. That's for sure. The super-experts of the god realm and the witch race all want a herbman by their side. However, even in the upper 3 realms there are very few herbmen. Yi Brat is truly heaven-defying. He actually managed to meet a herbman here, Fatty Een sighed. But the most important thing is that we can save him and the herbman. He will definitely be able to come up, the white-shirt man said with certainty. The white-robed man said with certainty, the wind cave in Death Canyon closes once every 3 months. After 3 months, he will be able to fly up from the bottom of the canyon. However, the 3 realms will be in a mess within these 3 months. The white-shirt man's expression darkened. His experience was still fresh in his mind. The immortal region attacked the underworld, and the great sacred emperor equaling heavens personally suppressed the 5 emperors. The Jade Emperor sent out his army to suppress the underworld, while the demon realm attacked from behind, causing the 3 realms to be caught off guard. The people of the 3 realms were unable to make a living and were filled with complaints. No, this sort of history definitely cannot repeat itself. Absolutely not. The white-shirt man clenched his teeth, then looked down at the message on his phone. Yeah, I do have a herman here. I really don't feel safe. Can you stop disappearing for no reason? F*CKU. Lousy is really panicking right now. System notification. The wind cave in the valley closes once every 3 months. When it does, I will remind you to come out. During these 3 months, do your best to increase your strength. There are plenty of spiritual herbs in the valley. With a herbman by your side, finding spiritual herbs will be much easier. All you need to do is to continuously increase your strength. Continuously. Understand? Yizichin tilted his head when he saw the system's message. 3 months. I need to stay at the bottom of this cliff for 3 months? There's no way to get out in advance? System notification. I don't know how the demon realm person got out, but this is the only way I know of to get out. Alright, then I'll stay here for 3 months, Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. He shrugged helplessly. As expected, the system notification ignored him and disappeared. F***ck, Yi Zichen rolled his eyes as he looked at the disappearing message. However, the system had already told him everything he needed to, so he just put his phone back into his pocket. Then I'll stay here. Hee, what was that in your hand just now? The girl, who was eating pills beside Yi Zichen, giggled. It was clear from her expression that she was very intimate with Yi Zichen. If there was an intimacy-level conversion, then it was at least trusted. It's fun. Do you want it? No, I prefer the jelly beans you gave me more. With that, the girl poured out the bottle. As soon as she finished speaking, the girl poured the contents out of the bottle. Realizing that there were no more pills inside, her delicate little face immediately scrunched up and she muttered, "No more." Here. Yi Zichen took out another bottle and chucked it towards her without thinking. If you want her to help you find medicine, then you have to develop a good impression of me. Fatty, do you have a spatial drop point from the immortal region? At the same time, the system also put his phone back into his pocket and asked Fatty Yin. I don't think so, I'm not familiar with the people from the immortal region, Fatty Yin shrugged. I'm a supreme of the Yao realm, how could I possibly have any contact with those guys from the immortal region? Creak. The white-shirted man clenched his fist, squinted his eyes, and clenched his teeth. Chapter 662. Meeting of the immortal region's upper echelons. Uncle Master, please seek justice for senior brother Jin. Sun Yuanjia, a disciple of great Emperor Qingming of the sacred land of the immortal region, knelt on the ground, covered in wounds. Behind him were his fellow disciples, all of whom knelt on the ground despite the injuries on their bodies. Their eyes were either filled with anger or tears. What are you all doing? The sect master is in seclusion. What are you doing? An elder scolded. Sun Yuanjia looked up at the elder with a frown. Uncle Master Lu, senior brother Jin died in battle. What? The elder in front took a step back, and the pupils of the other elders in front of the hall shrank. Martial nephew Jin died in battle? Weren't you all going to help the underworld clear out the wraiths? How could you have died? The clearing out mission had been going smoothly, but just as it was about to end, the underworld harbored ill intentions. The underworld is secretly plotting against us by providing us with false information. Let senior brother Jin lead us to deal with about 10,000 vengeful spirit. Before we went, he swore that the wraiths wouldn't be stronger than an earth immortal. But when we got there, the weakest of the wraiths were at least at the earth immortal stage. There were even quite a few sky immortal wraith. We were no match for them. Senior brother Jin died in order to cover our retreat. Sun Yuanjia pursed his lips, his eyes red. He clenched his fists tightly. If you don't believe me, you can ask my fellow disciples behind me. The underworld harbored ill intentions. They deserve death. Senior brother Jin. The other disciples either cursed or complained tearfully. The surrounding elders did not know how to handle the situation. Sun Yuanjia took the opportunity to move a few steps forward and kowtow 3 times to the ground. Uncle Master, please come out of seclusion. Thump, thump, thump. Uncle Master, please come out of seclusion. Thump, thump, thump. Uncle Master, please come out of seclusion. Even though the blood on Sun Yuanjia's forehead had already dyed the white bricks in front of the hall red, he didn't realize it and continued to do the same thing. Under his lead, the disciples in the back also imitated him and began to buckle their fists. The surrounding elders wanted to stop him, but under such circumstances, they were unable to do so. Creak. The palace door was pushed open. Great Emperor Qingming walked out of the inner hall with a weary expression. He was dressed in a green robe as he looked at the disciples below. What do you want? Do you still have me, the sect leader, and all the elders in your eyes? Sect master, senior brother Jin. Before Sun Yuanjia could finish his sentence, Great Emperor Qingming raised his hand and struck him across the air. Pooh! Sun Yuanjia spat out a large mouthful of blood as he stumbled backwards. He only stopped when he hit the pillar at the very back. Senior brother sect leader. The other elders couldn't help but speak up. Great Emperor Qingming narrowed his eyes and snorted. I think you're the one with evil intentions. Martial uncle sect leader, I don't know. Sun Yuanjia clutched his chest and knelt on the ground. He gritted his teeth and said, Senior brother Jin died in battle. He was your disciple, the top disciple of our sect. I did not do anything wrong. That's right. There are thousands of ways to deal with this matter, but you chose the most extreme one. Even now, you still don't know. Looks like I can only grant you death. A huge handprint appeared in the air. The surrounding disciples and elders seemed to want to speak. Who dare stop me? Everyone shut their mouths. Sun Yuanjia, I ask you, are you from the demon world? If you answer truthfully, I can let you go on account of your contributions to our sect. Great Emperor Qingming frowned. Sun Yuanjia's lips curled into an impudent smile. Ha ha, what a joke. I, Sun Yuanjia, have been in the sect for 100 years, but in the end, I ended up as a demon spy. Laughable, truly laughable. Fine, if sect master thinks that I, Sun Yuanjia, am a demon spy, then just kill me. Humph, then I'll fulfill your wish. The handprint in the air suddenly fell downward. Just as the handprint was about to hit him, Sun Yuanjia sneered. Martial uncle suspects me. I, Sun Yuanjia, accept my fate. But I still have to tell you that the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation also died with senior brother Jin. Boom. The handprint in the air exploded. Great Emperor Qingming instantly appeared in front of Sun Yuanjia. Repeat what you just said. Violent spiritual energy surrounded Sun Yuanjia, but he still raised his head with a smile and gritted his teeth. Yi Zichen is the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, right? Whoosh. Great Emperor Qingming, who had been standing in front of the hall, disappeared in an instant. The rest of the disciples and elders turned to look at the great elder. Disperse. Take Sun Yuanjia to recuperate. Bang. Serene, who was wearing animal skin clothes, smashed the granite table in front of him. Qingming, what you're talking about is true. I don't dare to confirm the accuracy of the information given by the inner sect disciples. However, I once left a mark on the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation, so I couldn't find it just now. Great Emperor Qingming replied with a frown. Serene's face turned ashen. What do you think we should do? Brother Yellow Emperor is of great importance to our immortal region. I think we should demand an explanation from the underworld. The one who spoke was the Fire Emperor, Shun. Yes, the human emperor is very important. We don't necessarily have to make a move against Hell. At the very least, we have to ask them about the current situation. The Earth Emperor, Yu the Great, also spoke. Don't you think there's something fishy about this? The Water Emperor, Yao, couldn't help but speak up. Why would the human emperor suddenly meet with danger under these circumstances? The one who delivered the news was a disciple of the sacred land of the immortal region, and they're pointing the finger at the underworld. I think we should consider this carefully. I agree with Brother Yao. The Wood Emperor Ku spoke up. Zhuanxiu, what do you think? Serene asked. What else is there to consider? Zhuanxiu frowned as he looked around. Emperor Ku, the Yellow Emperor is your great-grandfather. Uncle, he's only a reincarnation. Also, we shouldn't. What shouldn't? Emperor Ku glared. He's still the Yellow Emperor in his reincarnation, and he's also my great-grandfather. Serene, Shenong and Fushi aren't here, so you're our leader. Tell us what to do. I suggest we do it. If the underworld doesn't find the human emperor, then even if the great sacred emperor equaling heavens personally takes action, I'll fight him. I'd like to see just how much stronger an immortal king is compared to a complete stage human immortal like me. The human emperor is indeed of great importance to our immortal region. Sending troops might be a little too impulsive, but we still need to have an explanation. How about this, Emperor Ku, Zhuanxu and I will go to the underworld. The rest of you stay here. Any objections? Swearin asked with a frown. Zhuanxu wanted to speak up, but after thinking about it, he would also go to the underworld. As long as he was there, the situation wouldn't be too bad. No. The others nodded, including Swearin. Chapter 663. History repeats itself. Chapter 663. History repeats itself. The underworld. After the attack of the vengeful spirits, the underworld seemed even more desolate. Swearin and the others sat in the great sacred emperor equaling heaven's palace, quietly waiting for the great sacred emperor's arrival. Still putting on airs, Zhuanxu angrily rebuked. Zhuanxu scolded angrily. They had been in the underworld for an hour, and his patience was gradually wearing thin. Uncle, the underworld has suffered such a heavy blow. We need someone to take charge. We saw it on our way here. Just wait patiently, Ku comforted. Emperor Ku consoled. Zhuanxu frowned and couldn't help but curse. Who do you take after? My brother isn't someone who submits to adversity. You were also very domineering when you were the great emperor. What has being in the immortal region smoothed out your edges? You're too impatient. You need to be more rational, Ku said calmly. Emperor Ku's tone was still unhurried. Zhuanxu raised his hand and pointed at him, then put his hand down angrily. Humph, some things need to be rational, but sometimes it's better to be irrational. Brother Zhuanxu, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? An ethereal laughter sounded out from the palace. Even though there was no one in the palace, they knew that great sacred emperor equaling heaven had arrived. Great sacred emperor equaling heaven sure is arrogant. My back is already sore from sitting here, and you're finally here. Zhuanxu couldn't help but snicker. Brother Zhuanxu, what are you doing? Didn't you see how desolate the underworld was on your way here? Great sacred emperor equaling heaven chuckled. I have to take charge of the situation, right? I came as soon as I finished arranging things for them. The underworld isn't managed well, and you still have so much to say, Zhuanxu mocked. The management of the underworld isn't up to Brother Zhuanxu to decide. Great sacred emperor equaling heaven's tone was cold. Ku hurriedly said, Great sacred emperor, please don't blame me. My uncle didn't mean anything by it. I don't have the time to care. May I ask why you've come to the underworld? Just as Zhuanxu was about to speak, Swearin stopped him. At the same time, Swearin signaled Ku to speak. It's like this, great emperor. We are here for Renhuang, Ku said calmly. Human sovereign, what does your human sovereign have to do with the underworld? What's the matter? The human emperor's reincarnation failed, and you want to ask for him from the underworld? That won't be a problem. I'll call the magistrate over. Bullsh *t. Zhuanxu stood up from his chair and cursed. You're the one who failed your reincarnation. Zhuanxu, I don't want to bicker with you because the immortal region sent troops to help me suppress the vengeful spirits, but don't take advantage of me. Even if Shenong, Fuxi, or Uncle Xiaohao came, they would have to talk to me politely. To put it bluntly, who do you think you are? Say that again. Zhuanxu. Swearin frowned, then stood up from his chair and said, Emperor, Zhuanxu's tone is a bit lacking, but you should also watch your words. What about me? Great sacred emperor equaling heavens smiled. To be honest, the only person I like in the immortal region is the Yellow Emperor, and you guys even forced him to reincarnate. It took the Jade Emperor and I hundreds of thousands of years to reach the immortal king level. The Yellow Emperor only took 1,000 years to reach the half-step immortal king level. You guys aren't satisfied? If you like the immortal king so much, why didn't you reincarnate? You're already half dead, why can't you give it your all? I'm not talented. Is talent really an excuse? Great sacred emperor equaling heavens sneered. In terms of talent, the Jade Emperor is the most stupid. Your immortal region. To be honest, you're all a bunch of hypocrites. Brother Yellow Emperor must have been wronged in your immortal region. Great sacred emperor, How about we not talk about this? Swearin suppressed the anger in his heart and said calmly. We're here for something. Tisk tsk, you can even endure this. Impressive. Because of your patience, I'll give you some time. Say it, what's the matter? This time, the immortal region sent out troops to suppress the vengeful spirits, but your underworld provided false information, causing my immortal region to suffer heavy losses. Swirenshi frowned. How do you explain this? Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva told me, but the people of the underworld weren't wrong. The bodies of vengeful spirits were unique, they could not break through to the earth immortal realm. Let alone a human immortal or heavenly immortal. I feel that the problem lies with your disciple. I've divined before, but I didn't find that group of super vengeful spirit. Then is my immortal domain's disciple lying? Swearin spoke. There has to be one side lying, but I don't think it's my side. Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens smiled frivolously. Zhuanshu, who had been holding it in, finally couldn't hold it in any longer. Great Saint equaling heaven, don't go too far. Let me tell you, the fate of the human sovereign Yellow Emperor and the chief disciple of Great Emperor Qingming of the immortal region is unknown, and it's all because of you vengeful spirits. The Yellow Emperor is extremely important to the immortal region. This is your vengeful spirit, you should take full responsibility. You people of the immortal region are truly laughable, Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens sneered. The Yellow Emperor is a holy spirit-level figure of your immortal region. Instead of going to save him as soon as he's in trouble, you actually came to me to blame me? If you have the time, why don't you save him and come to me to blame me? You keep saying how important the Yellow Emperor is to you, but what are you doing now? Don't you think it's ridiculous to find someone to blame? What do you mean? Zhuanshu roared. Nothing, just that you guys are quite interesting, Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens snorted. Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens snorted. I can't be bothered to talk to you sanctimonious people. Go ahead. Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens. The Great Sacred Emperor didn't reply anymore. Zhuanshu smashed the table in the room to pieces, while Suerin's expression darkened. Return to the immortal region and send out the troops. Little did they know, Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens had gone to find Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. The Yellow Emperor's reincarnation seems to be in some danger. Ksitigarbha, send some people out to search for him. The range is roughly within a 3,000-kilometer radius of Maple City. Understood. Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens sneered after Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva left on dieting. A bunch of irresponsible people. Can you do it? I can't hold on for much longer. The 8-formation origin chart above Fatty Yin's head flashed with dazzling light. The white-clothed man slashed at the space above him again and again. Don't worry, it's almost done. Hurry up, I really can't hold on for much longer. Beads of sweat dripped from Fatty Yin's head onto the ground. At that moment, rip! The white-clothed man's sword tore open a hole in the surrounding space. He instantly pulled. Let's go. He grabbed Fatty Yin's shoulder and entered the spatial crack. However, when they appeared in the immortal region. Chapter 664. Medicine Man is mine. I didn't expect this canyon to be a blessed land. Yi Zichen took a bite of the juicy fruit, while the herb girl stuck to his side and occasionally tossed a pill into her mouth. Although she had always been eating ordinary pills, it was fortunate that she herself was a spiritual medicine. Otherwise, if it was anyone else, they would also explode and die from eating so many elixirs every day. There. The girl, who was tossing the pill into her mouth, suddenly raised her hand. Yi Zichen looked over and saw a stalk of mandela grass. The mandela grass was completely white and looked like a white radish. After eating this herb, it could make people fall into a deep sleep, and during the sleep, it would steadily increase the strength of the person who consumed it. Due to the mild nature of this herb, even spiritual body-level beings could consume it. Of course, the method of improvement was based on percentage. Generally speaking, it was highly recommended by heaven immortal experts. Even so, Yi Zichen only glanced at such a rare spiritual herb, which could only be found by chance in the outside world. Looks like it's not that old. Forget it. Over the past few months at the bottom of the valley, he had eaten quite a lot of mandrake grass. In particular, just a few days ago, he had eaten a nearly 1,000-year-old mandela grass and slept for 4 whole days before waking up. When he woke up, he was already at the late stage of the sky immortal level. For others, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for even a tiny bit of the sky immortal level, but for Yi Zichen, he would be fine after a good sleep. I see. The girl pouted. It was getting harder and harder to earn candy recently. Thinking about the few bottles of candy in her pocket, it could only last her for 2 more days. Forget it, let's just find this place this time. We've been out for so long, and Fatty is still waiting for us at home. He must be bored to death. Yi Zichen stretched lazily. The girl bit her lips and said unwillingly, I'm fine. Let's keep looking. Shaoliuli, you were clearly the most opposed to finding herbs to eat in the beginning. Why are you even more enthusiastic than me now? Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a smile. Lori was the name he gave the girl, and she liked it quite a bit. Lu Li's heart was pure, and what she was thinking was usually shown on her face. When Yi Zichen saw her sullen expression, he knew that she was actually worried that she didn't have enough pills to eat. That's what I thought. Since we're out, we should at least find some to bring back. Yi Zichen patted her head, then pulled out the mandela grass from the ground. Then let's take it. As he spoke, he took out 10 bottles of recovery pills from his phone and handed them to Shaoliuli. Here's your reward. Hee hee, Yi Zichen, you really are a great person. Lori giggled as she carefully put the jade bottle into her pocket, then grabbed Yi Zichen's hand. Let's go home. Didn't you say you wanted to look for a while longer? No, that's enough. You little brat. The two of them returned to the herb garden side by side. Third Fatty Jean sat on the ground with his eyelids drooping. In front of him was the ginseng spirit that he wanted to pick in the beginning. They stared at each other without saying a word. Fatty. Boss Yi, you're finally back. I feel like I'm going to die. Third Fatty Jean hurried over. Azure also skipped over to the ginseng spirit and gave it a pill from time to time. What did you guys get this time? Third Fatty Jean took the cigarette from Yi Zichen's hand and asked. What else could we get? We can't go too far with the herb garden here, we've pretty much picked all the spiritual herbs nearby. Yi Zichen leaned against a huge rock and looked up at the top of the cliff. How long has it been since we came down? There's no time in the valley, how would I know? Third Fatty Jean shrugged with a wry smile. I really don't know when we'll be able to leave this shitty place. To be honest, I was rather annoyed by staying in my sect before. But now I suddenly noticed that staying in my sect is truly blissful. Your sect might be going crazy from worry, and the chief disciple's fate is unknown. Yi Zichen chuckled. How could that be? What about you? Third Fatty Jean put out his cigarette and leaned against the rock. Your friends must be worried about you, right? And those guys from the heavenly court and the underworld. Boss Yi, how did you end up with them? That's a long story. Yi Zichen shook his head without saying anything, then took out his phone. During the time he was at the bottom of the valley, he would look at his phone every few days. During that time, he would also look for the system. There was no response. Who is it? At that moment, Lori's alert shout sounded out from the herb garden. Yi Zichen and Third Fatty Jean, who were leaning against the rock, looked over. Lori frowned in front of the herb garden, while 2 black-robed people stood in front of her. Why did someone suddenly appear? Could it be that the wind cave above had closed? Yi Zichen raised his hand in confusion, then looked at his phone again, only to see that the system did not send him any messages. Senior, is this the herb man you spoke of? A slightly hoarse voice asked in confusion. The elder beside him nodded. Yes, a herb man. This herb man is of the Herb King level, and is even stronger than me. However, the higher the level of the herbman, the stronger the effects of the medicine. It will definitely be a joyous occasion for the demon realm if we can capture her. Then what do you need me to do? Wow, it's you again. Lori frowned and put her hands on her hips. Liuli frowned with a stiff face and said with her hands on her waist, I just beat you away last time, and you actually came back again. There's no helping it, you're a herbman. Even if you chase this old man away 10,000 times, this old man will still come over, the demon elder smiled. The old man from the demon kingdom said with a faint smile. Come with me, I won't harm the herbs in your herb garden. Why should I go with you? I don't like you at all, Lori pouted angrily. Liuli pouted and angrily rebuked, hurry up and leave. If you don't leave, I'm going to hit you. With that, Liuli raised her little pink fist. Even though she was threatening him, it didn't feel like a threat at all. Iyun, set up the formation. Yes. One of the black-robed men took a few steps forward and threw a few glowing stones to the ground at the same time. As for the elder beside him, he looked at Lori with a smile. You still have time to think about it. You still have time to think about it. If you come with me now, I can provide you with an endless supply of pills every day. But if you let me capture you, then the result will be different. Your flesh and blood will become a catalyst for the demon realm. That's where you're wrong, right? At that moment, Yi Zichen also walked out from behind the rock with a cigarette in his mouth. Chapter 665. Chapter 665. Who can touch me? There's actually someone else here. Yi Zichen and Company's appearance clearly surprised the elder. He turned around and glanced at them, then raised his eyebrows with a smile. Junior, are you talking to me? Yes. Yi Zichen nodded with a comical smile. Who else am I talking to? It seems like there's only us here. Su Yun's expression also changed. Su Yun was visibly moved. Yi Zichen smiled and nodded, then glanced at Su Yun. Yi Zichen's right hand trembled for some reason. He could see Su Yun's face through the cloak. Su Yun was only a year older than Yi Zichen, but his face was covered in wrinkles, while his long hair had turned silver. It was clear that he had used up too much of his life force. Even though they were on opposing sides, Yi Zichen still couldn't help but wondered just what he had experienced. Iyun, it seems like you two know each other. The elder noticed Yi Zichen's gaze and smiled. Senior Chiu, what are you saying? I've been a demon since the day I came to the demon realm. Old acquaintances are useless to me. There is only the demon realm in my eyes. Everything else is in the past. Su Yun's tone was emotionless. Su Yun's tone didn't fluctuate in the slightest. His indifferent tone sent chills down everyone's spines. Your way of thinking is very correct, especially with your attainments in formations. When you get to the upper three realms, Dizun will definitely use you. What God realm, Yao realm, shamans? The one to rule the 6 realms in the future will definitely be us demons, the elder said proudly. The old man's expression was arrogant. Su Iyun nodded solemnly, but said nothing. Yi Zichen, he's the person I told you about last time. Lori pointed at the demon elder. Yi Zichen nodded. He was certain that it was that old monster from the demon realm the moment he found out about the mark. This geezer is a bit troublesome to deal with since even the system is helpless. Junior, for Yun's sake, I can ignore your disrespect just now. I can overlook your disrespect just now. Leave, this medicinal man is not something you can possess. The elder looked up. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled, then walked beside Lori. I don't think so. At the same time, he kept calling out to the system in his mind. This old man and the system were both from the upper realm. In the entire lower realm, he was the only one who could fight with this old man. No, there was also Liuli. How can you be like this? I said I won't go with you. If you continue to be unreasonable, I'm going to hit you. Liuli clenched her fists and pursed her lips. To be honest, this old man was still a little afraid of Liuli. When he came here that day, he was beaten up by Liuli, Whoosh! At this moment, a person appeared in the void. Senior Chiu-Hai, Lord Black Dragon told me to tell you. Yi Zichen, why are you here? Gu Li descended from the sky with a frown, then looked at Yi Zichen with disdain and amusement. When he looked at Su Yun, the playful smile on his face became even more obvious. What did Black Dragon want you to tell me? Chiu-Hai was a bit displeased. Gu Li actually has the time to chat with someone else in front of me? Does he even take me seriously? It's like this, Gu Li turned around and replied respectfully. The immortal region, the underworld and the heavenly court are fighting amongst themselves. Lord Black Dragon, this is the perfect time for us, the demon realm, to take action and wipe them all out in one fell swoop. What? Yi Zichen's eyes widened in shock, while Third Fatty Jin's eyes were also filled with terror. Fighting amongst themselves. Yi Zichen, why are you in a place like this? This isn't like you. The outside world is in a mess, and I heard that you have a pretty good relationship with the other realms. Why are you in the mood to stay here? Shouldn't you be trying to save people with your personality? Gu Li's expression was filled with amusement. Yi Zichen and Third Fatty Jin looked at each other. How is that possible? Did you not know? Gu Li pursed his lips with a smile. That's interesting. With that, Gu Li turned around and looked towards Chiu-Hai darkly. Senior, this brat is the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. He has ruined our plans multiple times. If you are in a good mood, you can capture him and bring him back to the demon realm. Gu Li! Su Yun shouted. What's wrong? Master Su, is there anything you want to say to me? Oh, if you didn't call me, I almost forgot. Lord Black Dragon wants you to return to the demon realm immediately. Gu Li's expression was forever filled with fearless mockery. Su Yun clenched his fists tightly under his sleeves, then glared fiercely at Gu Li with his murky, bloodshot eyes. Senior Chiu-Hai, since Lord Black Dragon has something to discuss with us, you should hurry back. We'll just take the king herb when we have time. The time to invade the three realms waits for no one. What do you think? There will always be opportunities. With Senior Chiu-Hai here, when can we not invade the three realms? Gu Li smiled sinisterly, but to everyone's surprise, Pa Su Yun raised his hand and grabbed Gu Li's neck. The bulging veins on his arm clearly showed that he was truly angry. Gu Li, don't test my bottom line. You know that I've always had a bad temper. He slowly lifted Gu Li from the ground. Gu Li's face was bright red as he kicked his legs. Yun, what are you doing? Humph. I don't like to fight, but that doesn't mean I'll never fight for it. I'll spare your life this time out of respect for Chiu-Hai, but if you challenge my bottom line again, I don't mind sending you back into the cycle of reincarnation. You can try. You can't hold back anymore? Gu Li, who crawled up from the ground, smiled playfully. Su Yun looked at him with a serious expression. Do you really want to die? Master Su, you're too serious. I haven't lived long enough. How could I want to die? You, on the other hand, aren't you afraid of? What is there to fear? Su Yun's expression was cold and arrogant. He looked at Chiu-Hai indifferently, but his emotionless eyes made Chiu-Hai's heart palpitate. Do you dare touch me? Su Yun. Chiu-Hai's expression changed. He didn't know why, but he felt a chill when facing Su Yun even though he was a Sky Supreme. Do you know what you're doing? Why wouldn't I know? Su Yun lifted his hand and tore off Chiu-Hai's cloak. The moment he took off the cloak, everyone around him was stunned. His body was covered in all sorts of strange runes. The runes were messy, but they seemed to be connected somehow. Suddenly, all the runes on his body left his body. The runes floated into the air and formed a long chain. Chapter 666. Two immortal kings. As the rune chains intertwined with each other, Su Yun seemed to have regained his youth. His aged face gradually became younger, while his silver hair also turned black. The chains wrapped around his body twice, while the runes on them shone with a faint gray light. Senior Chiu-Hai, you are indeed a high and mighty Sky Supreme of the upper three realms. However, you are merely a body double right now, so it's best if you don't get involved in some things. Su Yun squinted his eyes, causing his pupils to emit a faint light. Yi Zichen's life is mine. Even if I have to kill him, I have to do it myself. Do you understand? Chiu Hai felt a chill down his spine when he heard Su Yun's unquestionable tone. However, in order to save face, Chiu Hai nodded calmly. Master Su comprehended ancient formations. Even in the upper three realms, your status is definitely not lower than mine. Then, we'll do as Master Su says. That would be for the best, Su Yun snorted coldly. Su Yun snorted coldly, then turned around and walked towards Gu Li, one step at a time. He grabbed Gu Li by the collar and stared coldly into his eyes. Don't provoke me anymore, got it? Master Su, what are you saying? Since Senior Chiu Hai said that he would give you face, then I naturally have to give you face as well, Gu Li smiled. Gu Li smiled calmly. It was clear that he wasn't afraid of Su Yun at all. Instead, he seemed to be mocking and playful. Yi Zichen and company all looked at Su Yun and company cautiously. The demons are full of tricks. God knows what they're planning. Even though it looks like they're fighting amongst themselves, Yi Zichen and company still did not dare to let their guard down. Since that's the case, then let's return to the demon realm. Su Yun waved his right hand, causing a spatial crack to appear in the valley. Chiu Hai and Gu Li both walked in without saying anything. However, before they entered the portal, Su Yun turned around and glanced at Yi Zichen. For some reason, Yi Zichen's heart ached when he saw Su Yun's gaze. It was as if Su Yun was filled with endless reluctance and unwillingness. He didn't know why Su Yun had such an expression. Only Su Yun knew. What would he face when he returned to the Devil World? More importantly, he had forcefully shattered and condensed the ancient runes, which consumed a huge amount of his life force. In order to study this ancient formation, he had already expended a great deal of his life force. Adding on the fact that he had forcefully shattered the runes here, he really didn't have much time left. Su Yun stood at the spatial rift's entrance, then suddenly formed a series of hand seals. Then, he turned around and stepped into the spatial rift. The moment the crack disappeared, Yi Zichen and company noticed that a defensive seal had appeared in front of the herb garden. Third bro, what exactly do you want? Yi Zichen frowned as he watched Su Yun leave. At that moment, his phone rang. System notification. The wind cave has been opened, hurry up and come out of the canyon. Yi Zichen asked with a frown when he finally received a system notification. I met someone from the demon realm just now. They said that the three realms are fighting amongst themselves. What's going on? System notification. I can't explain everything to you in just a few words. I'll talk to you in detail after you come out of the canyon. Alright, then wait for me. System notification. I'll wait for you at the edge of the cliff. Yi Zichen put his phone back into his pocket, then looked up with a dark expression. Third Fatty Jin's expression did not look too good either. His mind was filled with the words of the three realms fighting. He just couldn't understand why the three realms would start fighting. Fatty, get ready to go back. 6 wings suddenly spread out from Yi Zichen's back. Third Fatty Jin nodded and walked beside him. At that moment, Lori bit her lips and spoke up reluctantly. Are you guys leaving? Yes, Yi Zichen nodded. Yi Zichen nodded, then rubbed Lori's head. What is it? Are you scared that you don't have enough jelly beans to eat? Here, take them all. With that, Yi Zichen took out all of the jelly beans from his treasure chest and placed them on the ground, forming a small hill. These jelly beans should last you for a long time. I don't want jelly beans, Lori shook her head. Little Lori shook her head forcefully, and a hint of reluctance appeared on her slightly immature face. I also want to leave this valley with you. How can that be? Yi Zichen refused without thinking. There's a huge fight outside right now. If you go out with me, especially when you don't have any experience at all, you're just like an idiot. If someone catches you and sells you, then you're going to help them earn money. What's more, you're the medicine king of all herbmen. What if you get caught by those people? I'll just follow you. Lori pursed her lips and looked at Yi Zichen with bright eyes. I'll just stay by your side from now on. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'll just listen to you. Otherwise, what if that old grandpa comes to catch me again? Lori frowned, making her look very pitiful. Yi Zichen didn't really care about anything else, but her last sentence caused him to change his mind. Indeed, what if that old guy from the demon realm comes again? Boss Yi, let Lori go out with us. Although it might be very chaotic outside, she's much better at protecting herself as a medicine king. Third Fatty Jean also tried to persuade Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then rubbed Lori's head. Then let's go out together. He stretched out his hand to grab Liuli's shoulder and was about to drag her away, but Liuli forcefully shook her head. However, Lori shook her head. Wait a moment, I have to put away my jelly beans. The person who left this formation is definitely an ancient powerhouse, the white-robed man sighed as he stood on the edge of the cliff. The white-robed man stood at the edge of the cliff with his hands behind his back and sighed. The sky-concealing array can completely isolate the canyon from the three realms. Without great attainments in spirit arrays, it would be impossible to set up this formation. If you have the time to sigh, why don't you think about what we're going to tell Yi Zichen when he comes out? Fatty Een shook his head with a smile. At that moment, a blinding light suddenly exploded in the northwest of Maple City. The light was of 7 colors, and was accompanied by celestial music. Under the illumination of this rainbow-colored light, all living beings bowed before it. Immortal King, Fatty Een looked at the light calmly. This immortal king should be from Mount Biluo. Could it be that a demon king of Mount Biluo has stepped foot? No, it should be that lucky fellow who inherited Mount Supreme. The white-robed man nodded. The white-robed man nodded, it should be him. Everything is going according to my script. However, at that very moment, beside the white-robed man, a deafening celestial music suddenly sounded out, and a blinding rainbow light descended from the sky. Fatty Een raised his eyebrows, then couldn't help but raise his eyebrows as he looked at the rainbow light. Chapter 667. Timing. Senior Chiu Hai, you've finally returned. Black Dragon welcomed him with a smile. The Black Dragon welcomed them with a smile. Behind him were endless demon elites, and the 12 demon sovereigns had come out in full force. The current situation was an opportunity for them, an opportunity to overturn the 3 realms. The elites have all gathered, and the abyssals have all moved out. We're just lacking someone to take charge of the situation. You're an old senior of the demon realm, so you should be the one in command. Black Dragon continuously praised Chiu Hai, but Chiu Hai was in no mood to listen to any of that. The atmosphere between Su Yun, Gu Li, and Gu Li was very strange. Old Su's expression was naturally cold, and no one could see his expression due to the black robe covering his face. That was a habit he had in the demon realm for so long, so no one felt that it was inappropriate. Gu Li's expression was filled with mockery and playfulness, while his gaze would occasionally sweep across Su Yun and Chiu Hai. All he wanted to do was watch the show. He never expected Su Yun to return to the demon realm with him. Now all he had to do was wait for Chiu Hai. I want to see how this old guy is going to deal with what happened in the Valley of Death. Senior Chiu Hai. Chiu Hai turned around. Chiu Hai turned around and asked disapprovingly, "What did you just say to me?" "We're waiting for your command." "Look, the 3 realms are pretty much done fighting, should we? Let's do as you say." Chiu Hai nodded absent-mindedly. "Forget about the command. You've been leading the army for quite some time, so I don't need to worry about leaving it to you." A hint of hesitation flashed across Black Dragon's eyes. Gu Li chuckled. Senior Chiu might be a bit tired. "Lord Black Dragon, don't think too much about it. Don't you agree, Master Su?" Su Yun narrowed his eyes and raised his head. His pitch-black pupils were filled with a threatening aura. Black Dragon looked at the three of them for a long time in a baffled manner before he involuntarily cried out in a deep voice. Then, he couldn't help but shout, "What's going on?" Dazzling light illuminated the entire valley. Yizichin was also stunned by the light, because it was shining directly on him. Yizichin flapped his wings and flew out of the valley onto the cliff. Both the white-robed man and Fatty Een looked at him in shock. "Brat Yi, you're an immortal king?" "I'm an immortal king." Yizichin looked up in bewilderment at the rainbow light in the sky. To be honest, even though he had eaten a lot of spiritual herbs in the 3 months he was in the valley, his strength was only at the advanced heaven immortal stage, and he was still a little bit away from the great perfection stage. Moreover, according to his past energy, this light should have caused some changes to his body, but he didn't notice any changes. As for third Fatty Gene, there was no need to talk about him. He was just a bystander and was weaker than him. Could it be so comfortable? Little Lori grinned and raised her head. Bathed in the rainbow-colored holy light, her youthful figure gradually became more and more mature. The childishness on her face had lessened, and her already delicate face had become even more enchanting. Little Lori. Yizichin paused, then understood. Back in the valley, she'd been able to beat the old man into submission. She'd naturally long since reached the immortal king level. The white-robed man and Fatty Een nodded in understanding, but they also felt a bit disappointed. The immortal king is not Yizichin. I didn't expect this sky-blanketing formation to be able to conceal one's strength. It seems like this girl's strength is at least above the supreme level. The white-robed man shook his head with a smile. Yizichin also looked up and noticed the rainbow light in the distance. Immortal king? Qiu Yuan should have completely inherited what the elder from Mount Supreme left behind and advanced to the immortal king level, the white-robed man explained with a smile. Yizichin nodded with a smile. Doesn't that mean that there are 4 immortal kings in the 3 realms now? Seriously? I, the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, clearly worked hard to become an immortal king, but I'm not the 3rd immortal king. That's normal. The ley line hasn't appeared yet. It's impossible for anyone to advance to the immortal king level without a natural supreme like this little girl. The white-robed man smiled helplessly. Fine, Yizichin laughed helplessly. How long is she going to last? That depends on her capacity. Reaching the immortal king level is actually half a step into the supreme level in the God realm. The word supreme means that she's using divine power. The rainbow-colored sacred light exists to convert the celestial spiritual energy in their bodies into divine power. The more divine power she can contain, the longer she will last, the white-robed man explained carefully. The white-robed man explained in detail. Yizichin nodded, but at that moment, his phone began to vibrate violently. He took out his phone and saw that there were 99+ messages on his WeChat. All of them were about the heavenly court and the underworld searching for him. Among them, Yang Jian and the great sage, who were the closest to him, had 99+ messages. There were also several tens of messages from the other deities. It was clear that the deities were very worried about him while he was away. Just as he was about to reply, he saw several tens of messages pop up in a new group. Yang Jian, the Jade Emperor has already ordered me to send troops 9 times. Even though I haven't seen the Jade Emperor and kept telling the messenger that I want to see the token, this can't continue. God of Thunder, I'm not much better than you. Neza, my dad turned off his phone. He said that the 3 realms are one family. He doesn't want to send troops to harm his own people. That would only let the demons take advantage of him. God of Fortune. Yeah, the war funds have been giving me a headache as well. Yang Jian. Old Lord Taishang, you're one of the 3 pure ones, why don't you go and persuade him? Old Lord Taishang. The Jade Emperor's eyes are already bloodshot. He keeps saying that this is his chance to unite the world. He's sent messages from all 4 directions. It seems like he's ready to go all out. So what if I'm his dad, what can I do? Yang Jian. F*ck, the messenger came again. He's right above my manor. What should I do? God of Thunder, tell your wife to go out and block him. Just say that you're not here. We have to stay calm and wait for Sky Sovereign to come back. He'll definitely have a way. Canopy Marshal, but does anyone know where Sky Sovereign is? The group fell silent. Yizichin read through the messages with a frown, then looked up and saw that the white-robed man was also looking at him. What did the people from the heavenly court say? Don't worry about what they said. I want to know what's going on with the three realms right now. Yizichin stared at the white-robed man. Why did they start fighting? The Yellow Emperor's reincarnation's fate is unknown, so the higher-ups of the immortal region asked for an explanation. The great sacred Emperor equaling heavens is prideful, so he angrily rebuked them. The higher-ups of the immortal region then sent troops to the underworld. The underworld resisted, while the heavenly court took the chance to attack. It's that simple, the white-robed man replied casually. Hearing that, Yizichin frowned even more. Then since I'm back now, hurry up and take me to the immortal region. Tell them to stop fighting.